Hello friends, welcome to episode 220 of the Noclip podcast. It's a Crewcast. It's an amended Crewcast. We got a full set of 4 human heads here to talk about video games, but one of the heads is new. An old head though, one of our favorite old heads is Jesse Garasha. How you doing, Jesse?
I'm well. I wish I knew how to turn off my DJI whatever this is.
Is that
device.
what that is?
I think so.
It?
It's
That
nice.
looks like-
It's a little camera. It films.
What's it for? It looks like a peeping Tom camera. I'm just gonna say it.
It's not one of those. It's
You
not.
know?
It's not for that. I've
not
never
for
been
it.
known to do
It's not, it
that.
doesn't mean that you don't. Somebody might not use it for it. You got to be careful.
That's all cameras technically are peeping Tom cameras if you try hard enough.
I mean, that's true. It's
Yeah.
difficult with like a Canon XL1 or something, though. You know,
Not if you get a big old zoom lens. You could do it.
Oh,
I believe
yeah,
in you,
you're
Danny.
right.
I think you could be a peeping Tom if you tried hard.
no one is safe. No, that's my other Patreon.
Yeah.
Frank Howley's wearing a Napster shirt for those of you watching on YouTube. I am personally really enjoying it, especially because is it also a long sleeve shirt?
Yeah, because I did a bike ride late last night, so I'll wear like a long sleeve while I'm doing it, and so I got it randomly at what is it? Forever 21. I don't know why they randomly had these, and they were on clearance because no one knew what it was. I don't know. So
Like recently?
no,
Like
this
Forever
is
20?
like I think like 2018. Like
That's
they
still really late
yeah,
to have
I was,
a Napster shirt.
I was blown away, and yeah, it was on clearance because no one was buying it, and it's like yeah,
The LimeWire shirts were all gone
Yeah,
though,
yeah.
man. Yeah. And if you didn't hear it already, Jenna Stoeber we are continuing our run of having people with names that begin with J. You're taking a seat for Jeremy this week, who is currently moving house, and most of his computer apparently is in a box at the moment, so he can't be here, which is a great excuse to get you here. How do you introduce yourself? Are you a freelance games journalist? Are you a podcaster, a streamer, all of the above? Because this economy.
I try to avoid introducing myself as much as possible, but unfortunately with my work, it's mandatory. You know, it depends on the audience. For this audience, I'm going to say I'm a video essayist
There you go.
and live streamer. If I'm being undercover, I'll say I'm a freelance video producer and then refuse to answer follow-up questions.
You're a video essayist. I feel like there's going to be some good Venn diagram cover up here as well, because we spent a large amount of last year talking about Indica over and over again, and your most recent video essay is all about it. So you're in good company, I think. Did you grow up Catholic?
No, atheistic household.
Man,
Strongly.
that sounds nice.
It was great. Really set me on a right path. I don't have to detangle a lot of religious guilt like a lot of my friends do.
Yes.
So I really feel like I'm ahead of the curve on that.
Excellent. You didn't try and rebel and become a Mormon?
I did. I mean, in high school, to answer your question, yeah. In high school, I did investigate a lot of religions to be like, well, this is a thing I have no context for.
Right.
But if you're not raised that way, then your investigation of those things is very like, I'm going to read about your doctrine. Well, this is crazy. It's just, if you're not embedded in the system, looking at any of them from the outside is just like, well, this is bonkers. I can't believe you think this is the way.
Yeah, once you're in it, it's as normal as as milk. So you're just like, hey, well, whatever. And then you read it, and you're like, they don't really mean that. You know what I mean? That's
surely
silly.
not.
It's all up for interpretation, except for when I take it seriously.
Exactly. That's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of it. Am I the
none of
only
it
person
stuck.
here that was raised in a religious household? Am I?
Yes.
Jeremy wasn't either, I don't think.
Oh.
Yeah, man, oh man. There we go. Hey, it doesn't stop us loving all these games about monks and priests and all that good stuff.
It's so fascinating. We get to criticize it and poke and prod and go like, why is it like that? It's fun.
Beautiful thing. We have no games on the list, on the roster this week that are about Judeo-Christian values, or maybe they are. Wreckfest 2? Not sure about that. Assassin's Creed Shadows. Jesse's played a chunk of that. Frank has been diving back into some of his specials, and Jenna's bringing Monster Hunter Wilds Citizen Sleeper 2 as well. I want to quickly talk about GDC. I was at GDC last week. I popped in, went to some talks, saw some people, went to the awards, had all that stuff. Outside of the GDC bubble, did you guys interact with GDC at all? Like, did you see news coming out from it, or talks, or the awards, or anything like that?
There were some showcases. Future Game Show did one. I think the Mix did one as well, or something like that. I saw some award stuff, which seemed fun. I feel like following IGF is always what I want to do, because that's where the art of video games tends to lie, is whatever's going on at IGF. But that's about it. No, was there you have some scoops you want to drop on us?
Not particularly. The IGF was fun. We had a real interesting situation with Astrobot and Balatro at the awards, the GDC awards, where they were just like scooping up everything. So games like, like Animal Well got a bunch of nominations, which was cool, but it had so many nominations and wasn't winning because every time, it was
up against the poker simulator with all the fun like arcade noises. It makes the fire happen, which makes my soul feel warm.
Yeah. I'm not sure if it was like
did Balatro win Game of the Year?
Didn't it win Game of the Year? Can I not remember?
No.
I can't either.
It did win
I thought
Game of the Year.
Astrobot.
Brutal.
Oh, okay.
Astro won a lot. Astro won a lot of, and Astro might have had the best talks at GDC. So I felt like, I don't know it was like they had professionals make their decks, because they had like, I went to Nico Duches's one, we interviewed him years ago for the Astro's Playroom documentary. He's the French guy who's like the sort of creative lead with that team, Team Asobi. And I went to his talk about, it was just like the making of Astrobot, and they had like straight up like little planets for each section, like a little ship that flew to each planet, and then at the end a mystery planet appeared, and he went to that for the last one. But it was amazing. It had loads of like behind the scenes footage. They did a similar thing with that they did with Playroom, where they basically did like tech demos for a third of the development time, which was crazy. Like maybe 2 years or a year and a half of them just riffing ideas and getting in these little, cabals kind of, and then, going off and creating something. So he had all these incredible side-by-sides. Like pretty much every enemy mechanic in the game had some tech demo associated with it. So he was able to do side-by-sides of them all, of like, this is what the programmer made, and then this is what the final version was. It was a fantastic talk. But they had like 3 or 4 talks, and I heard from other people that every talk was like that well presented, which is pretty cool.
In line with Astrobot, that makes sense.
Yeah, like the quality bar, the polish on that thing was pretty incredible. I did my usual tradition of going to a bunch of talks of stuff I know nothing about. I went to one on rendering this year, which was interesting. Frank Cifaldi had a great one about game preservation, which was packed out, and his talks are so good. Whenever I go to GDC, I'm like, oh, I'd love to do a talk. And then I go to one of Frank's talks, and I'm like, oh, he's so good at, like, people are really good at this. Like, he had jokes and like written jokes, like
People do that? They write them down.
Wow,
No,
they riff.
What?
It's wild, absolutely wild. And they had the press sat beside the people getting their like industry awards. So like Lucas Pope was just beside us. He got like a Pioneer Award. Why am I blanking on Max Payne's name at the moment? The creative director of Remedy.
Sam
What's his
Lake.
name? Sam Lake.
Oh,
thank
yeah.
you. Sam Lake was beside us as well. He did a nice little speech. But it's always funny. I always look up the numbers afterwards, and I'm like, on the IGN stream, like it had like 3,000 views. You know what I mean? This like big industry event.
Well, there's no world premieres. Who cares? What's the point? I'm not seeing the new Mario game. I haven't seen the Schick Hydrobot. I'm not watching. It does suck though. It's true. The DICE Awards have the same sort of problem where the numbers just don't get to the same level. But that's people are like, where's the Oscars for gaming? I'm like, we're doing it. It's happening. It's just not reaching the numbers and not reaching the level. It's a shame, but we are here for the advertisements. We love those commercials. It's true. We're always talking about it.
People can point towards it. What do you guys reckon with the timing? Because like this is like we are into like late March of 2025. Is it the wrong time to be doing game of the year stuff? I always find like the DICE one comes around, I'm like, really? We're a bit late. And that was like weeks ago.
No, I think it's okay. Because Indiana Jones dropped really late. Like that was barely on our Game of the Year list, and that was because you got a review code to play it like a couple days or a week before we even dropped the list. So you were the only one on the team who had played it by the time we had decided it was going to be on our list, right? So give people time to play games. And I mean, the Oscars are pretty late, all things
That's
considered,
fair.
and take time. Games are long too, man. Movies, I can watch like 8 movies in a day. Video game, forget about it. Assassin's Creed Shadows, I'll see you in July. Maybe I'll be done.
Yeah, I feel like this is always an issue with Game of the Year stuff, which is that people only really want to see Game of the Year stuff at the end of December, potentially early January if you're lucky. And so it means if a game comes out on December 12th, it's like, well, this might be the best game of the year or decade, but it's not. It's in this weird
Might
no
as
man's
well have
land.
never come out.
Kinda, yeah. So I wish it were more acceptable to do Game of the Year stuff in like March. I wish I could drop my Game of the Year 2023 in December 2024.
Once you've finally gone back and played all those games, like what was the one that I like 3 weeks ago? I was on here talking about the Golden Idol games, which Jesse was trying to get me to play forever, and then I played. I'm like, oh my god, these are like the best thing ever. This is like,
why did no one tell me?
Might have been my game of last year. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I guess it's the other weird thing as well is that we have now perhaps escaped the awkward local thunk does not go up for awards thing. Because he's like the creator of Balatro is like, he doesn't do, when we interviewed him, we did it without a camera. He doesn't like do personal appearances or anything. So he has a bunch of people, a part of his like production comms people who go up for the awards and like pick it up on his behalf. But like it wrapped around to be, it was like kind of awkward, whenever all these award shows when he's not turning up and people are like, who is it? Is it that guy? And like one of his posse wears like a suit jacket with like cards on it, and people are like, "Oh, there he is. He's not talking." But like, no, that was actually a different person as well. Yeah, apparently he was in the room and he was taking meetings. I was having meetings with people who were meeting him later in the week and stuff, so he was around, but he just doesn't want the limelight. But yes, they won like 5 awards, I think, during that. So wow. It was a lot. Saw some of the folks from Sunset Visitor as well, who we had on.
Oh, cool.
Chatting about 1,000 Times Resist. And there was, I'm trying to see what other games there were. Did you guys watch them live or just look up the sort of like the winners after the fact?
Yeah, I just checked the highlights. I don't have time to sit through that.
Well, where'd you see the highlight? Was it just like, was it on YouTube or something? Or?
Just on Blue Sky. People were dropping some hot links.
They were spitting them out.
I need to double check.
I'm trying to remember who else won. There was one game I'd not played. It was about like you play as a content creator or something. It was I literally never heard of this game, and it won like 4 awards. And then they had the alt control I'm trying to look up the name of it here. The control alt GDC. Have you ever seen that section where they show all the
Absolutely all of the TikToks I've seen coming out of GDC are of exactly one of those alt controllers. It's the one that looks like a giant animal butt covered in fur.
Yes.
And it's a game where you're supposed to like pet cats, I think it is. But the controller, you're just like, you're bongoing, basically. You're bongoing underneath this massively large animal butt.
That's what gaming's about. That's awesome.
That's what gaming's about.
I think it's 2-player, and I think a person does each cheek or something.
Yeah.
Because I kept seeing that. Yeah.
Fantastic.
I just have seen video after video after video of that on TikTok. And the problem is I watch one of those videos all the way through, and TikTok's like, oh, you like that? You
want some cat butt, don't you?
You like that, do you?
Where's the Bop It version of that? Spread it.
Well, I like the noise. That is not the noise my cat makes when I have to...
I wouldn't do that, Danny. Stop doing that.
I got some old cats. Sometimes you gotta intervene in ways you don't want to do.
That's what you got the goats for. Now you can do that instead.
Yeah, one of them has like a fucked up because they debutt them or disbutt them, so they basically burn the part where their horns would grow from. It's like
That is not the word I would use for that.
No.
this butt. No, they take their
Perplexing.
butt away. Yeah, so
Yeah.
they can't.
They're hang kill. They have no ass.
Awful. But one of them has like a little infection where her horn was popping out, and they bleed and pop off and stuff like that. So we've been spray. So we got this spray. I got her for a shot last week. I brought her to our goat lady. You know, he brought her to our goat lady.
Yeah, which everyone has.
You gotta
Everyone
have
has
it,
one of those.
Milkman, cold man, goat lady. But we got some like spray, some antiseptic spray stuff that she said to put on, and we didn't know that it was like fucking purple, like Jenna's top purple. And I was like, so she did the spray, and I looked down and I was like, oh, what, did you blow her fucking head off? Like what happened? It was like, because it's just like a white goat, so she's just covered. So now she's walking around and she looks like she's like a teenager, you know, just like painting her hair or something. She's got like a sick mohawk. Consume Me is the name of the game. Have you guys heard of Consume Me?
Oh, I've seen
No.
pictures of this one. Yes. Okay.
It won the grand
the art style.
prize, the Nuovo Award. They won a bunch, and they were good fun. The three developers who won that were very people were digging the fact that they kept going up. So that was an interesting one. Yeah,
Good for them.
and
That's
it was.
awesome.
I'm trying to think who else won on the thing. I should have brought up the fucking list beforehand. There was a lot of talk about people who could not make it to GDC, or were not willing to take the risk to go to GDC.
Don't blame them.
Despelate won excellence in audio, which is pretty cool. Oh, Tactical Breach Wizards won excellence in design, which I think was a game
cool.
last year that went under a lot of radars. And I was chatting to Tom right before the show for about 10 minutes, and he was like, "Oh yeah, we always get a nominated for things, and I've never won anything. So yeah, we're not gonna win." And he was like shocked when they got it. Caves of Cud won excellence in narrative, which is very interesting
cool.
because that's like it's like Dwarf Fortress, where it's like it's not
It's all systemic, right?
yeah, so you're sort of the player is the storyteller is in a lot of ways like in Dwarf Fortress. So I thought that was sort of like a brave winner to choose. You know, it wasn't like a single.
What was it up against? Do you remember? Was there
Oh man, every time I just found the
what's
list
the
of
monkey
winners.
game called? That had to have been there, right? Black Myth Wukong, great narrative.
Yeah.
Did it have a great narrative? Well, I mean,
No,
that's
I don't
like
know. I feel like that just goes up for awards for some reason. I
Can
have
you
no
do
idea.
that though? That's like the narrative is like a 3,000-year-old tale. Can you do?
Hey,
you know?
if it still hits, it still
So
hits.
it better
right?
be good.
Yeah, exactly,
Good
right?
point.
It lasted that long. It's got to be all right.
Is I Am Jesus Christ going to win this year's? Is that what you're saying? They're like, wow, the greatest story ever told. It has to win.
Can't be that good. They had to rewrite it.
Oh, damn. Coming at me. Slot Waste won best student game. All the student games look rad, and Slot Waste looked disgusting. So I want to play that one.
Oh, yeah, it does look gross. I
right?
like it.
Chroma Corp won the Alt Control GDC. I can never think to say that right. I don't know what that is. I'm trying. The other ones they had were, there was this really all the Control Alt stuff was really cool looking, but there was one that I found fascinating. It was a. You'll all love this as journalists and ex-journalists and lovers of games journalism. It was basically a 4-stage. It was like a sort of there was 4 stages around this thing that you went through to play this thing. So you kind of played it in line, and basically what you were doing was getting in from. You were a reporter, and you were getting news from this. It was a crime, a murder had happened, and your job is to basically write the story about the murder. The goal is not to write the best story, it is to write the story that gets the most views. And you
Nice.
use AI to write it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then it prints out your piece of paper at the end and tells you like, you know, and it has it written and stuff. So I thought that was a good subversion of the AI is coming for your jobs thing. Because it allowed them to use AI within their game, but in a sort of a self-aware, this is bad. This is not, you know, doing it for all the wrong reasons kind of way, which I thought was pretty cool. There was also like a noodle eating game. Like, you know, when you have like a bowl, like a noodle, you've got chopsticks and a bowl, and you have to like trying to do it fast like that, like and get the rhythm. There was one of those there. That was pretty sick. There was one where it was almost like, what's the name of that? Is it Gritty? No, what's his name? Gritty is the dance.
The mascot?
But the
Yeah.
mascot, the orange guy? Yeah, Gritty.
Yeah, it's
Is
great.
that Gritty as well? It was kind of like one of those things, but you had to put your hand, like you had to put your hands in its stomach, and then like there were controllers in there, and there was a screen,
What's with all these body horror, hairy controller
100%.
video games?
It's
What's
like
happening?
weird Cronenberg meets, Muppets. And so you couldn't see. I think you could see the camera. So it was like doing an operation, but on this, and it was standing up. So you were standing up with your hands inside of this thing. It was pretty great.
What was the game?
You were. I think you were trying to like save its life.
That was just a perfectly reasonable question. Danny just walked up and shoved his hand in this grid.
Yeah,
It wasn't even a
what are you-
game. You were just assaulting
Sir.
this gritty mascot.
What are you doing to my mascot? I think it was like it had weird anatomy, and you were like trying to like do an operation on it, kind of style. I don't think it's.
Oh, you
streamed
watched
and
The
stuff,
Pit,
though.
right?
I'm on the final episode.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm not caught up yet, but I just watched the one where someone's giving birth, and now I'm thinking
yeah.
about that episode and you having to help
Yeah.
Gritty.
A mascot or just like a person?
Just a person. I'm pretty sure. I can't remember.
In the future, AI will be able to make the mascot version of that TV show, so you'll be able to see that.
Ooh, Muppets Pit would go crazy.
That'd be
though.
great,
That would be
wouldn't
fun as hell. Yeah.
I remember that scene in The Pit. I recoiled, and I've seen that happen in real life. But that was like like super. God, that's the second last episode. I almost had like a panic attack watching it. It got so tense. It was
My wife and I were not having a fun time because we're
it's awful.
We're on the road and it's like, hey, that looks awful. I don't want to do that at all.
wild. It's a great TV show. Madness.
Yeah.
Shout out. Is that on the home of Gritty? Actually, am I right? Is that
Pittsburgh?
Is he a Penguins thing? Where is he?
Where's he? Philadelphia?
Is he
I can never
Philadelphia? Oh, he is.
remember.
Okay. Okay. Sorry, I did that thing. I bet Philadelphia and Pittsburgh hate each other.
Yeah.
Probably. Madness. Yeah, Consumi. I gotta check out Consumi. I didn't know anything about Consumi.
Yeah, I'd never heard of that until these awards, and that's why I love them. That's why it's so good. You hear about all the cool art. And Haunty won for excellence in visual arts.
It
looks
did.
like. So
I think
Well
that was the
deserved.
first one.
Great
which is
game.
Pretty cool. You get money as well. Like $2,000 if you win, which probably covers about a day of a hotel in San
Yeah.
Francisco. So.
part of your trip covered. That's not bad.
Consumi is not out yet, so it's coming soon.
Oh,
so
okay.
check that.
Okay.
Wish list it today over on Steam or wherever else you can wishlist stuff. So nowhere. Yeah, I don't know what else I have to say about it. I had some meetings, met some people. Lots of folks came up and said, "Hey, listen to the podcast," and we're shouting you all out. So that was pretty cool. So thanks to everyone who popped up and said, "Hey," probably like moment to moment, the place where I've been stopped the most, like more than PAX, which I think says a lot about the type of people who watch our videos and listen to the podcast. Which was pretty nice. So thank you all so much for saying hey, and looking forward to getting back to GDC.
Do you have any thoughts on it still being in San Fran? I saw a lot of conversations about that.
So I feel like some ways about this because like San Francisco is an expensive city to live in, but like everywhere you go to conferences, the hotels go up. So I don't know. Like I don't know if this is like SF is not like it's not like a big metropolis that lots of people are coming to anymore like it was years and years ago, but there are plenty of hotels. Like I got a hotel on a day's notice downtown, and it was expensive, but like if you did it in like where I guess if you did it in Seattle, it would cost a lot of money. It would be harder to get to probably than SF. If you did it in, I mean, where would you do it? Somewhere in like San Francisco has good international routes as well to Europe and to Asia, whereas like, where would you do it? Dallas? Like where has there's probably a good answer to this. I just haven't thought about it. But like if you did it in New York, it's going to cost money. If you
Oh,
did
yeah,
in,
forget about it. Yeah.
like a major city that has a convention center. Like I don't know where else. You guys have any ideas? Like where?
Toronto,
Come to
please.
St. Louis.
Yeah, come to where I
Come
live,
to the
please.
Midwest.
Yes.
Come
what's
see
the
our open cornfields. The
Is your-
majesty of the
Is it
plains.
soy this season, or when are you switching it over? How exciting!
which one is St. Louis is a pretty big hub, right?
It's fine. Chicago's a way bigger hub. I would not call St. Louis a hub of anything.
There was that one year they did E3 in was it Atlanta or something?
Atlanta is a hub, so Atlanta's not a terrible option.
Okay, so that's a big one. Okay,
Yeah.
I've not been.
Oh
there.
yeah, the Atlanta airport is like a huge international airport.
What's the one they call Sky Harbor? Is that one or is that Texas? No one knows. I always found that very sexy sounding. Sky Harbor. It was like something out of Final Fantasy. It was like Sky Harbor.
yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like
That's good.
Fucking
It's like a lounge.
boats in the sky. Yeah. I don't know where that is.
Casino, Sky Harbor.
So I don't know, like if they did it in London, like London is expensive whenever they had like the MCM Expo or any of that sort of stuff. Like there's obviously places that are cheaper, but like I do think some of the San Francisco is overblown, is expensive stuff sort of post COVID, now that like every metropolitan area is like so much and the cost of living has gotten worse. And in a weird way, San Francisco's rent has like dipped and plateaued because nobody wants to live there anymore and hasn't for a while, and there's no business downtown anymore. Like there's lots of other reasons why you shouldn't do it in San Francisco, but I'm not sure if the cost is necessarily it. I can see Toronto being a good shout because there's other studios around, so people can like
Montreal's not that far away, a couple hours drive or train, which isn't unreasonable. Tons of hotels. It's like a hotel city. There's really nothing else downtown. It's executives in suits and hotels. Yeah, I don't think it would be a bad idea, but still, it's, you know, I think the bigger thing for a lot of people that I saw this year, and you mentioned it, was coming to the States right now.
Yeah,
it's not ideal, both in terms of everything going on and then also people at the border being put in detention centers for like coming into the country. It's not great, not exciting. So I get the concern there, but I think wanting GDC to like die, I saw that even like wanting GDC to end. I'm like, no, we need more conferences. I think it's fine. It's good. Maybe have GDC 2. Why not do that instead of one less GDC?
It's from some people who were there last year, it sounded like there were fewer folks around. I wasn't at it last year, so I couldn't say, but I get it. Like I think some of the pushback obviously happens with like the price of going to GDC. Like the ticket is very expensive. I have a media pass, so it's basically free. So start a blog and then go to GDC. But like, and they do have other, you know, ones. I think they give certain badges out to people who, you know, are independent developers or I think they have a couple of, I don't think it's means tested, but they have some sort of policies or things that you can submit to, I think, for those. But yeah, it's an expensive week. A lot of people go to GDC but don't go to GDC. They don't go and get a badge. They just hang around Yerba Buena Park and network.
It's like going to WrestleMania and not going to WrestleMania. Just stay around it.
Frank is just there to watch all the awesome, you know, off-Broadway wrestling while he's in Vegas. So there's that as well. But it's in an era where like I'm still mourning the death of E3. You know, no shade on Keighley. You know, it's good that something's going on, but it just doesn't feel the same. So I'm happy for. I remember tuning into the IGF and GDC stuff when I was a teenager in Ireland, and you know, thinking it was the coolest shit ever. So I think it's good that stuff's there, but I don't know. I worry a little bit about the awards stuff, especially when you see how little penetration it seems to have into the wider gaming culture. But who knows? Yeah, if anyone has any fucking suggestions, send them in. Noclip podcast at noclip.video, and I'll just forward them over to whoever runs GDC. We can get that thing moving on out of San Francisco. Let's talk about some video games. Jesse, I think you've played the hottest game on the list here, so let's jump into you.
Sure.
The new Assassin's Creed game came out, and lots of sad online right-wing gamer grifters cried their tears when
I was wrong.
It was not bad, apparently. Even Asmongold had to eat humble pie and say that he was enjoying it and will play.
You got to be careful eating anything. There might be cockroaches up in there.
That's true. It could be a rat. Could be. Yeah. You gotta watch out there. So I was quite surprised by this in a way, because I was like, okay, cool. Like our expectations of Assassin's Creed, you made the point last week. Like, is this just a thing where expectations of this series have gotten so low that if they do one that's half decent, that it'll be popular? Or is this a really great game where people seem to be enjoying it? What has your experience of Assassin's Creed Shadows been, Jesse?
I will try my best to be more positive on this, because I'm not loving this at all. I feel so out of the loop on this. Wow. I loved the latest Assassin's Creed, not to be confused with regular Creed. Hold me now. And they've just been so weird. Like Assassin's Creed Origins, I love the story. Odyssey, I love the characters, and I love the being in ancient Greece is so cool. Valhalla, I fell off of because it was just too big. I feel like that was everyone's complaint. This one, AC
Did you play
Shadows.
Mirage?
I did play Mirage, and I played it in Arabic, which was very cool.
Oh, sick.
It was a fun experience. It was like, it really scaled it back, but it wasn't evolving the stealth much. I feel like Shadows definitely succeeds in that regard and trying to make the stealth a little bit more interesting. But it's still too big, and there's still nothing to do. And I do not like most of this game, unfortunately. Really? So AC Shadows, you play mostly as Nawe, who's like an assassin who she trained with her father. The story moves pretty quickly. The prologue is like an hour and a half, though, so I don't know how quickly it really moves. And you do learn about the team of evil people who you have to take down. That's the thread for these latest Assassin's Creed games, is you're kind of just hunting down not the Templars, and then at the end of the game it's like they were the Templars all along. Could you believe it? Every time. Here it's the same sort of setup. You're hunting them down, looking for the bad guys. Eventually you pick up Yasuke. You play him for a very brief moment in the beginning, and then you get him, and they have a clash narratively where Yasuke worked for Nobunaga, and Nobunaga is the guy who killed your dad. So there's that like conflict there, but it's resolved really quickly, and they're just friends. And I'm like, oh, okay, right. So it's I'm not big on the narrative. It's structured in this way where it's not linear. Like, it's not like Assassin's Creed where Benjamin Franklin gives you a quest and you go, sign the Declaration of Independence. This one, you're like in Japan.
That's National Treasure, I think.
Right. Sorry, my bad. Nicolas Cage, my favorite assassin. Everything is so out of order and like random. And I feel like you could make that work. Like, that's to me my ideal open world game, and it turns out I'm wrong because I'm playing it and I'm not having a whole lot of fun.
So what? It's like jumping back and forth in time or something? Like you're competing
no, it's
a level?
all. So there's no, or at least from what I've seen, very, very little Animus stuff. They have almost complete. Yeah, I know. You were talking about that last week, and I was like, I wonder if they're gonna do away with that, and they've sort of been getting rid of it. And this one, very early on, they have an introduction to, I kid you not, the new. You know how you start the new Call of Duty and it launches a launcher for all of the Call of Duty games. They're doing that with Assassin's Creed now. So when you start it up, Xbox and PC, I've hopped back and forth between the two platforms. It launches a launcher that is like, here's Assassin's Creed Shadows or Odyssey or Origins or Valhalla or Mirage. And I'm like, brother, I spent $80 on this game. Let me just play the game. I don't want to sit.
Isn't it the 17th
quick,
one, I think?
Something like that, if you don't count all the weird spin-offs like the Chronicles games. So it's they've minimized the Animus stuff, but it's mostly focused on this era. I think it's like early or late 16th century feudal Japan. It's beautifully rendered. Like, I may not like a lot of this game, but oh my God, it's gorgeous. Like, everything looks so good. You move through these forests and you can see all of this foliage as far as the eye can see moving in the wind. It's like that Ghost of Tsushima, the feeling that you get when you see all that grass moving. It's not quite that artistically driven, but it is technically astounding. Like, you see lightning cracking in the distance when it starts to rain, and it's like the nicest looking lightning I've ever seen. The way it persists in the fog and the clouds hold on to the color. Like, it's so beautiful. Everything. It's so quiet too. I think compared to Valhalla, a game that was like a lot of yelling and running and I'm a Viking, I'm gonna take over your city. This one is like straightforward and clean and clear. It's very meditative. There's like a lot of moments. Yes, less pillaging, more introspection. It's very nice. But unfortunately, there's so much game still in terms of space, and I don't care about anything. And that feels awful.
Is it the same kind of thing where you've got like, okay, here's your main quest, you're going to follow that, and it'll be some variety, but then you've got like camps to liberate or stuff to collect, and none of it is fitting?
Or? The weirdest thing is it's just quests. There's very little non-quest content. In fact, I spent a lot of time exploring, because it's what I like to do in the Assassin's Creed games. I love looking at the different environments and seeing what's going on. Here, despite how beautiful it is, there's like nothing to do. In fact, I was searching at a point, and the only collectible I found was Helix coins. And I was like, what the hell's a Helix coin? Oh, it's for the marketplace. And I was like, God
no.
Damn it, Ubisoft, just get out of your own way.
Or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So I didn't even get enough to buy anything. They gave me 300, which is not, I need 600 to buy something nice.
How far are you in at the moment?
About 10 hours. I'm in the second big area. It's all still level gated like the original ones, but just
really?
Overall, it's still, so like each region has a level setting to it. Like, you start off in a level 7 area and then you go to 10, but there's some nearby that are like 33. You can go there, but good luck. Like, you run into one guy, if he looks at you for too long, you're going to collapse. Right. The different protagonists as well, I think it's an interesting choice, and I say interesting in a derogatory fashion. Like it's a fun idea.
Choice.
It's no. It's I could see what they were going for. I wish they were more explicit about it, because you can switch between Naue and Yasuke whenever you want.
Okay. And does it like GTA 5 you, or did they just like anamorph into each other?
I wish it did the GTA 5 thing. Like Yasuke's off doing something, you warp over to him, and then you're him for a little bit. No, because that would be cool. There would be like, but whatever. They don't do that. You just switch between them. You go to the menu, you hit the button, you wait a second, loading screen, you're back, and then wherever you are now, whichever one you switch to.
And is the conceit of that this is some sort of animus thing, or?
Pretty sure, because you kind of have to go into the animus menu and then switch from there.
Like he's just hiding in a bush behind her, and she like tags
it's not
him
that
in
fun.
No, okay.
I wish they did like a smoke bomb transition or something. Anything other than the animus menu.
So is the idea that they like they're working together? Like, are they doing the same quests? It's the same quest
narratively. Yes, yeah. You have the same objective. Of overthrowing Nobunaga. So
do you find stuff for the other person?
I haven't seen any equipment.
Yeah.
Separate. I've only played with Yasuke for about an hour now, because it takes a while before you get him back. Like 10 hours it took me. So right at the end of my play, I got a little bit last night. But yeah, for the most part, the difference between the two is that Naue is really good at climbing. She's really good at doing all the regular Assassin's Creed parkour stuff. And then Yasuke is the juggernaut. And I'm not even exaggerating. He runs through walls and doors and breaks them into pieces. It's really cool. I like playing as Yasuke, except for when I need to do a viewpoint, because you can't climb. He has minimal parkour skills.
Oh, I guess.
He has minimal parkour skills. Naue has a grapple hook. I love grapple hooks. This game might have the worst grapple hook ever.
No.
Like, it works functionally. It swings, which I was not expecting it to do. If you hook onto something and you jump, you can swing. Whee! And like you can control the arc and move the momentum. I was like, oh, okay, cool. We're getting somewhere. Unfortunately, all of the viewpoints so far have been like climb a tree, okay, or climb a temple. And the temples are all like pagodas, like 8-layer things you have to climb up, and you can't climb up that. So you got to just grapple hook.
Oh yeah, of course. Next one.
And I've done that like 40 times, man. I feel like I broke the game or something. The reception of this has been so positive. I wonder if part of that is trying to overcorrect, because if this game came out with like a 65 Metacritic, it would have been pandemonium, baby. It would have been, the internet would have exploded.
Season.
Exactly. So like, maybe to your point, maybe it's people are just excited to play something that's a little more straightforward. But again, I feel like I broke the game, because people are like, there's so much to do. And I'm like, I'm not doing anything. I'm riding my horse from A to B, doing the side quests as they appear in this sort of nonlinear fashion where there's no like main objective that you're supposed to do. It's sort of just like a screen of a bunch of different characters with their own objectives on them. You click on them, you ride to the thing, you have one short conversation, and they're like, go over here now. And I'm like, oh man, all right. I just want to care, I think, is another problem I'm having. And this is sort of my last point, is I want so desperately.
Why won't you let me love you?
That's what I'm saying. It's the, what do you want? What do you want? I'm having my Ryan Gosling Notebook moment. It's like, I want so desperately to care about these characters and these environments, because they're so beautifully rendered. It's clear that the artists and the writers have put a ton of effort into making these believable characters in this, I don't know how well recreated version of feudal Japan, but unfortunately everything is so lacking in this desire to want to be there. Like, every town and city, I can see unique districts. I can see shops. I can see, like, there's moments where I walk into this painting area, right? That's like about a different kind of painting that you don't normally do. Like, there's moments in the game where you can see an animal and you can stop and observe it, and your character will, like, now I will just stop and paint what she sees. Okay, that's it's very cute. I like that. And you can use the decorations in your hideout, which like is another thing you can do. You can sort of like pick the buildings in this hideout area. It's simple and fun and lets you decorate it, and it looks nice, and you can walk around in the area. But all of that stuff, when you see the depth, when you go to this painting room or this painting area, I'm expecting a character to talk to me about the painting, or to see something that's going on in the area, to see someone who cares in the game about what's going on in this space. And all I can find is an animus floating little white bauble that, when I scan it, tells me to check the codex, where it will give me the actual history on this place.
Right.
That's interesting. Why am I playing the game though? Like, the game is not a documentary
experience.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, I want the game to be interesting. History is inherently interesting to me, and I imagine most people who like the idea of Assassin's Creed's historical environments.
Because they've done that stuff, right? With Mirage, they did there's like a version of it, and they did with Odyssey.
Yeah,
as well,
all
I
of them
think,
have a
right?
guided tour mode
yeah.
where you can like go through and those be like, here's the pyramid of Giza, and you're like, oh cool, what's that? And then you learn about it, and it's really
What are
interesting.
the
But here,
pyramids?
like
I've
that's
never
the
seen
main.
the pyramids.
Is that were they built by aliens? I can't wait to
Must
find
be.
out.
Must be.
Joe Rogan said so.
Yeah.
But like it's just that kind of stuff where I'm like, I just want to be in a place that I care about. I want this world to be more interesting. And yeah, it's disappointing that there's clearly so much love in this, and I can't find it. It's a shame.
Jenna, do you ever play these games? You much of a Creed head?
Not really. I spent a lot of time when Odyssey came out watching my roommate play Odyssey because I wanted to see the beautiful buff woman hit on other beautiful buff women. And
Malaka
so that was,
over and over again.
that was very rewarding. But no, the only one I've played to completion was the one in Italy. And that was a very rewarding experience because it ends with you punching the Pope. And
Right. That was 2,
that
I think.
was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Many, many years ago.
The
And I
prequel to
was like,
Conclave.
yeah, so that was fun. I liked having a little flying machine. And then I was like, okay, I get these games. And to my knowledge, they have not really, they have changed, but not significantly over the years. So I just have never really felt the compulsion to dip back in.
Yeah, I've tried. I loved the first 3 or kind of 4 so much that I wanted to like all the ones after it. But I don't know. In some ways, that it feels like they got very big. They got very open world, and then there was sort of like a dilution of, maybe it was the characters as well. I think the first 2 characters were Ezio and Altair, especially. I think or Ezio, I guess, especially.
Ezio more, yeah.
was more
Altair
so
was kind of
solid.
whatever.
Yeah, it was just novel. I remember thinking, this
Yeah.
is crazy that you're running around Damascus and Jerusalem in a game. Like, this is awesome. You know what I mean? Like, my dad came up and watched me play it because, my uncle used to be, was a UN peacekeeper in the Holy Land and in Gaza. And they used to visit, and like, they've been to a bunch of those places.
That's so cool.
And he was like, this is crazy. I was like, I know, it's fucking crazy. Games don't usually do this stuff.
Do you want to see me stab a guy?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. And it's like desynchronized. Oh fuck! Games are still broken. But yeah, so it was like novel and cool. And every time they're in a new area, I'm like, this is amazing. Like it's like you're a Native American person in America during this like weird history. This has never been in a game, and same with the Viking stuff. And I've always just bounced off it. And my wife has been playing them all religiously for the past few years, and her enjoyment of them has been quickly sort of dipping and dipping and dipping. And she has played this for I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 hours, and she's really struggling to get into it as well. It's just not it's not clicking. So yeah, I don't know. I do not know. They seem like they're in a weird spot where they're having to pare it down a bit, which is probably a good idea, but maybe it just feels like a very old type of game. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's a very PlayStation 3 era kind of thing. I don't know. Frank, is this not... I never hear you talk about Assassin's Creed. In a way, it feels like the type of game that would be your bread and butter.
And this is the first one you'd like because it's in Japan.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I looked into it because it takes place in Kyoto, and like they recreated historical castles. So it's like, oh, I want to play it, but Ubisoft games are the first games to go on sale. So I know, like, wait
Smart
a week
man.
and it'll be $20 off. Because I was really interested in this one just because it takes place in Japan. And I love like Ghost of Tsushima and like basically any samurai game. Yeah, like I was like tempted to get it, but it's like I just got so many full price games. And I'm like, I'll wait on this one. Is it gory? Like, can you cut people's heads off? I don't know. How does it? I want to know actually how the combat is. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I could talk about the combat. I don't like it, but I could talk about it. So, like, I think the combat, what they're going for is more of a, like, the duality between Yasuke and Naoe. Naoe's whole thing is she's like a faster, more stealth-focused character. If she gets caught out in a large group of enemies, she can usually escape, but also if she gets into an actual fight, it's a lot more challenging. It works sort of like the Arkham-style combat, where someone will come at you, their sword will glint, and then you can go and parry their attack, or dodge out of a red attack. And, you've played one of those games before. Yasuke, on the other hand, is like a tank. Like Juggernaut, again, very explicitly. Big weapons, tons of damage, indestructible. He's really, like, not literally, but like he feels indestructible. It's so much fun to play as him when you can, but like constantly switching between Naoe to do the parkour and Yasuke to do the combat. It just isn't fun. The weapon variety is actually pretty interesting too. So far, I found a katana for Naoe, a tempo, I think it's called, which is like a little dagger sword that has its own special abilities. You can throw kunai.
Nice.
And there's one
Shurikens?
that not shurikens that I've seen so far, but I imagine at some point. But there's one that's like a sickle with a spiky ball on the end of it with a chain, and you can like spin the spiky ball and hit a bunch of
nice.
enemies. It's really cool. Like the weapons are really like the star of the combat for me. The stealth also, I feel like, is evolved in a way that's a little bit more interesting than normal Assassin's Creed, because I feel like it just sort of devolves into get on a platform, stab a guy, or like get in the grass, stab a guy. This one, shadows is not just the name of the game. You also use the shadows.
What? You're kidding me.
What?
Wow.
I can't believe it.
Relevant?
There's no water arrow though, so it's kind of is it that good? It can't be that good.
Yeah. No
but
moss
there-
arrow. Moss arrow is my favorite arrow.
That's the one that makes it quiet to
Makes
walk
it
around.
quiet, you know, like
Yeah.
moss. Yeah.
Right.
Don't think about
That-
it too
every-
hard.
Okay. I love video games. But so there's like lanterns and candles, and you've been to Japan before, right? And you can extinguish the candles and lanterns to make the area darker so you can stealth through it.
Nice.
But I've never felt compelled to do it.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
It's so
right.
easy to escape with the grapple hook and get on a roof that like I don't, it's
Yeah.
sort of like if they give you the noob tube, I'm not going to shoot my gun. I'm just going to shoot the rocket launcher. I'm not thinking about it too hard. So it's there. If you want to force yourself to play in that way, you totally can. But the combat is, I think, acceptable. I think it's a lot more weighty than the last couple of games. They've been very like almost Dark Souls, big swing. In Valhalla, if you don't turn off the damage numbers, you hit someone and like 11,000 pops out of them. And you're like, what are we doing, man? Was that what it was like in Viking days when you hit people number? Okay. And their helmets didn't really have horns either. It's I'm learning so much about ancient
only
Viking
had heavy
knowledge.
attacks. That's why the Vikings were so scary. Because
Yeah, and their R2 on their controllers kept breaking, so they
Yeah.
couldn't even do it. It was a rough time. But yeah, overall, I don't know. I think there's
can
people
you
who are
chop
loving
people's
this.
heads off?
Not that I've seen. There's a couple special abilities you can do. Just the head shake. Disappointed head shake for everybody. Totally fair. There are some finishers that are like kind of gruesome. They get a little close and you see some stabbery occurring. But for the most part, it's not like super over the top. There's one special ability that I've got so far where you do a quick dash and like slam through people and the camera turns around and the visuals get all washed out and watercolory, which is cool. But yeah, overall, it's not, unfortunately too, because the Anvil engine, they have updated it. I watched the Digital Foundry video, and there's a bunch of like props around the area that you can cut and bamboo shoots that you can cut, and where you hit them, it's like dynamic. So it's
Beautiful.
got that Metal Gear Rising Revengeance, like cut something at the point where the sword
Astrobot
impacts
had it too. Had the
All right, never mind. It's not that innovative. I take it back. They didn't win the IGF, so who's to say? No, yeah,
that's
I
not
don't
an
know. I wish I was
independent
enjoying
game.
it. It is. It's what do you mean? Made by Ubisoft,
Team
published by
Asobi?
Ubisoft. That means
Oh,
it's
oh, yeah.
Team Asobi.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah, them too. Yeah. But yeah, regardless, I don't know. I might not play any more of it. Unfortunately, I'm just not having a good time. But I'm glad that people are, and I think it's nice that they finally, for what looks like maybe the last Assassin's Creed game, finally went to Japan. Sorry, Ubisoft. Sorry. I hope things work out for you. I'm sorry though.
If you are enjoying Assassin's Creed Shadows, let us know. Like
Please.
not the so we can block you from all of our media. No. Like, genuinely, I think like because clearly these games are popular with folks, and we talk a lot about how games are. There are games that are good and have audiences, and they're not for us or not for me or not for somebody, and we have our own reasons why. But I would genuinely be interested in hearing what it is about the sort of contemporary ones in particular that people really like. I often feel like sometimes it just comes down to like a sort of a game feel thing. Like a lot of the time with these games when I'm playing them, I don't like either the animation priority or the latency or it's that, and it's also the I've talked before about I just have an aversion to how much those games remind me I'm in a video game all the time in a very which is and the sort of what was I saying, it was like the uncanny valley problem you get where these games are so historical and so well sort of steeped in that place that whenever they do anything video gamey, it maybe clicks me out faster than like, you know, a game like Atomfall, which is fucking clearly not real, but it within its world, I feel like I'm there, or, you know, it doesn't, I don't have that break that I.
Yeah, you don't get a level up upgrade and like all the wind puffs around from your character. And you're like, man, is that what it was like in Japan?
Wow,
you learned enough stuff. And just...
I'm walking through this beautiful forest, and then there's a big floating Ubibucks coin or whatever.
Yes. Oh, Helix coins. Let's go.
Helix coins. Jesus Christ. That's Assassin's Creed Shadows. Yeah, let us know. Podcast at noclip.video if you have any strong opinions, or spam us on the Discord. Let me quickly just check in with Wreckfest 2. So Wreckfest 2 hit early access, I think last week. I've been playing it. I think maybe it had a pre-early access or something, because there were some reviews up on it before I had access to it. So I don't know how that worked. Maybe they had like an alpha or a Kickstarter. I'm not quite sure. This is a Bugbear, so the crowd who made the Flat Out games back in the day, very much, you know, or a bunch of those folks, you know, they had a game. The first Wreckfest was one of the sort of early access games, like especially for a driving game. It was called Next Car Game at that time, and they eventually branded it Wreckfest rather. So this is the sequel to that, and it's very you know, if you've never played these games, it is basically a physics playground driving game. It's not quite Beam NG where it's like super physicsy and simulation-y in that way. But it's a game about like driving cars that get busted up. There's destruction derby in it. There's like driving around, you know, shitty little local circuits like we have in our town here, crashing into each other, 3-lap races on like small little hot hatches and stuff like that with like, you know, paint scratches all over them, stuff like that. The physics in these games have always been super cool. So you hit the tire wall, all the tires go everywhere. You crash into the car, parts of the car fall off. It affects the handling, all that sort of stuff. Again, more arcadey than physicsy. And for the most part, what I've seen with it is sort of on the same trajectory as Next Fest, but more. So like the amount of physics objects are way higher. The amount of damage that can happen to the car is different. I've had, I don't think there was ever tire punctures in the last one, but now there's tire punctures. The wheels fly off as well if they get too deflated. They have a realistic driving sim thing, which feels like it's been tweaked a lot, the damage on it. Because it's early access, they only have like 3 sort of driving levels that you can do, race courses, circuits, driving levels, Jesus Christ. Literally was recording a Formula 1 podcast before this, and here I am saying driving levels. But then they also have like the fun tech demo land, which is just full of like stupid shit like cannons that will shoot your car and like big basketball hoops that you're trying to drive your car up into so it can fall in. So these games never take themselves seriously at all, and that's good fun. The only problem I have with this, and this is going to sound like I'm just shouting up Stunt Derby, which by the way, I did have, we had some Stunt Derby meetings at GDC, myself and Alex chatting about what's coming next. So the Stunt Derby story is not over, folks, but you know, watch this space. But one of the things that when we were making our own game, Jenna, I'm not sure if you've come across it, this game Stunt Derby, we're making it with Alex Austin, and it's basically a physics sort of a driving game, multiplayer driving game with loads of like super sort of intuitive physics, but it's sort of a reaction to a lot of the physics in driving games. And it's one of the problems I still find in Wreckfest, which is that like the fun thing to do in Wreckfest is to drive into the fucking tire wall and to drive into the building and have the shit fly everywhere and crash into cars. But because it's a racing game, you're disincentivized to do that all the time. Even when you knock somebody off the track, like I'm turning my camera so I can see the cool crash, and the crashes are incredible. Like this game looks insane and is amazing, and like the cars flip and the shit flies everywhere, and you just want to put it in like slow-mo. There's a photo mode. I'm sure they'll add in like a video photo mode at some stage where you can do slow-mo replays and stuff, but you want to see all that stuff, but the design of the game is like completely in conflict with that because you're not meant to do that. And the thing
did the first Wreckfest have like Burnout crash modes or anything, like more arcadey, sort of see what the physics can do kind of stuff?
I don't know if I could be wrong. I was surprised that Wreckfest didn't have more of that because the Flat Out games did. The Flat Out games had these modes where you would eject the driver. Do you remember? Frank's nodding. Do you remember that shit?
Yeah. It was like you would crash the car at the end of a jump, and your guy would fly, and you like a giant bullseye, and I think that would knock stuff down. And it was like
Fantastic.
And they had
Like
like
a Rube
bowling.
Goldberg machine crash.
100%.
Which is awesome, yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah, and then there was a console version of the game which had its own versions of that where there was kind of more of that. So it seemed like it was kind of going in that direction. Whereas Wreckfest, it might be a smaller team. There's probably loads of reasons why, right? Like it's resources to build all those unique levels, yada, yada, yada. And there's some of that in the little tech demo area, but it's that same thing where I feel like there's this weird conflict where like almost I'm thinking in my head, like there's probably a lot of people who play these games because it's like hard, it's like not hardcore racing, but it's like it's a harder version of arcade racing. And honestly, it's been hard to get in online games, so multiplayer is in early access too, because all the servers are full. So a lot of people are playing this game at the moment. So there's obviously a purity to the racing that people probably like, but I always wished, like, okay, the one scenario in which this definitely works in Wreckfest is that you have some tracks that are like figure of 8 tracks or have crossovers in them, and that's where all the madness happens. You know, that's where somebody T-bones someone else and it just fucking shit goes everywhere and it's cool. But I do wish, like, almost on the first lap, like the way that, you know, and if you should do a side-by-side of Stunt Derby and Wreckfest and see the difference in visual quality and then say, Danny, fucking shut the fuck up.
Get over yourself, fella, all right?
That was the whole point of,
All
like,
cubes. No.
the tire walls in Stunt Derby are in the middle of the track. Like, this is why the jumps are in the middle of the track. Like, all the physics shit that Alex is putting in those levels was meant to be in the way. Like, that was the joy of the game. And in a way, I feel like I wish Wreckfest 2 would take a leaf from unreleased game who couldn't get a publisher for 18 months, Stunt Derby, and just put somewhere that shit in the racetrack. Like, make people drive through that stuff. Make people drive through buildings, like, because the physics engine's amazing in this. It also eats up your CPU as well, so it's very funny to watch it chundle along sometimes. But yeah,
Danny, how dumb can you make your car in Wreckfest?
there is a painting, livery thing in it. I've not jumped into this year's one, but I suspect incredibly stupid. I don't know whether you can import things, or what would you do if you could have a little
hot dog mobile.
Oh my God.
Love it. The Oscar Mayer Wiener car.
Like that.
A paint is fine. Being able to put a cool decal on my normal shaped car is a fine option. But what if the fact that in our actual reality, we have hot dog mobiles? There's so many racing games are like, we're too good for that. You're not.
Yeah.
You're
Simpsons
not
Hit
too
and Run
good
was kind
for
of
a
the
Wiener
peak
mobile.
of cool, funny cars. They really found that perfect balance.
So Wreckfest has some funny ones in it. The original one, like, there was a riding mower that you could drive around in Wreckfest, and then have like 50 people on riding mowers, and it's just like murder. Like, everyone's just getting knocked off. So they had that. What else did they have in Wreckfest? They had like buses, like huge buses. So you could do these races that were like 2 straight roads, like parallel to each other, with then like a big circle either end. So just like a circle and then a line, and then so you'd have buses driving on it, and they'd have to like turn on the other. Oh, you can also do buses. Like, half the field are buses, half the field are driving riding mowers. So they do lean into that stuff for sure. This version I think only has sort of 4 standard cars, at least in the racing mode I was doing for early access. Yeah,
unplayable, literally unplayable.
So I think they'll have more wacky racing, I guess, and that stuff. But I just wish some of these, like, you know, dirt track ones had some of the physics stuff thrown in the middle. And then the other problem, I guess, as well, is that these games don't have any. I might be misremembering Wreckfest 1, but I don't think they've ever had any replay system at all. Which again, I feel, and I could be
That
wrong.
feels wrong.
Apologies if I am. In this game of all games, I think you should be encouraged to just intentionally fuck up and then rewind. I could be wrong. I don't think you can do it in Wreckfest 1 either.
Googling.
Yeah, and it might be an issue with, like, physics. I don't know. Like, maybe rewinding all of that stuff is just like a massive load on RAM to be saving all that shit all the time. I have no idea. But yeah, I hope they lean into that a little bit more this time around.
It looks like there is something, but it's like limited by lap or time or something.
Oh, okay. So I could be totally wrong. Like,
But,
I mean,
but still, it sounds like it's almost impossible from just what people who are big fans of the game are saying is like the engine's not designed for that. But regardless, yeah, that from what you're saying, even in the middle of races, you're turning your camera around to see those crashes.
Yeah,
that's the kind of stuff where you're like, I wish I could. Why can't I make my own Wreckfest 2 trailer with the cool video mode? Like that kind of stuff is totally what you're looking for with that.
I think the replay. I'm pretty sure they had a pretty good replay mode in the first one. It doesn't look like it's in this one yet. Again, it's early access, but they definitely have a in camera. There's a button they pressed where it was a bunch of GoPro shots like in the car, and you could have your driver do like shakas and fucking fist pumps and stuff, which I thought was pretty funny. So yeah, hopefully they lean into the weird on it. But yeah, in terms of technically Wreckfest 2 is really doing some wild shit. So yeah, if you're into that game, go check it out, and hopefully they'll, just like next car game, they'll develop it over the next couple of months and years. Jenna, let's jump over to you. So you have been mostly experiencing the wilds, it looks like.
Yes, the Monster Hunter wilds specifically.
How are they? How are they this time of year? I hear it's beautiful.
Oh, it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. It's lovely. There's all sorts of bugs and creatures to engage with. I'm enjoying it quite a lot. I've been running a bow as my primary weapon for the most part. And that's really been fun. I hit a point, I feel like everybody hits this with Monster Hunter, where they hit a point where it's just like, I'm good at this weapon. I need to be better at this weapon. Like, there's so many moves and special moves that you have to have like a basis of how to use the weapon, and then you have to watch like a 60-minute YouTube video to actually get good at any weapon. So that's where I'm at with the bow. I recently got good at it. And
there's like a bunch of weapons, right? Isn't there like a dozen different like?
Yes, and they all play pretty differently. I would say more so even than previous games. The difference between the weapons has become even more acute in a really nice way. So there's like a hunting horn, which is kind of like a big hammer, but is also kind of the bard weapon. So you can hang out and play like, there's like one that looks like a giant saxophone, and you can play that giant saxophone to give people that you're fighting with or yourself bonuses. And then you use that giant saxophone to brain a monster.
Oh, really?
So,
you like use it as a physical weapon as well?
Yeah. And there's like big swords, big hammers, big axes, small swords, but there's 2 of them. Pretty much any kind of weapon you could want. And my experience playing Monster Hunter with people is that everybody thinks that everybody is going to use the weapon that they are using. And when I started, I was like, I really want to use the bow again because that's what I played in Rise. But I'm like, I should branch out and develop more skills. But as you can tell by the fact that I've been talking about the bow for 3 minutes now, I didn't do that. I just doubled down.
But you found that other people weren't all using it as well, though. It sounds like there's a good split in the community, or...
Yeah, quite a split. Yeah. I think every time I've played with somebody, they're like, they have a different primary. And this one, Wilds introduced a secondary weapon too, so you can like hot swap pretty much mid-battle, which has made it a lot easier to have a weapon that you're less good at. And there's always a point where you're like, okay, this is serious now. I just fainted. We're gonna pull out the big saxophone.
What's the do you feel like the second weapon you're using to give you like if your crossbow or your bow doesn't sort of suit this monster, or are you using it so you can sort of play around with different ones?
Sort of to play around with different ones. There's a lot of mechanics. The combat system is extraordinarily complicated because that's all it is. It's just a monster hunting game. So obviously the combat has to be quite intricate. And so there are a lot of mechanics around like severing parts of the animals, severing horns and tails and tentacles and stuff like that. And the bow, God bless it, is not great at severing things. It's not its skill set. So if you're fighting, for example, there's an octopus monster called the New Udra, and it's got a bunch of tentacles, and those tentacles just love to flop down on you as you're doing a cool stunt. And so you can like chop off I believe it has 6 tentacles. You can just like nubbin it, just fully nubbin this octopus.
That seems cruel and unusual.
It is. The vibes are pretty whack, is what I'll say. Yeah.
Also, are we okay calling it an octopus if it's got 6 tentacles?
What? What's
what do you call it? Decapus then? Like, what do you can't say
Decapus?
that. I don't know.
It's called a new Udra, Danny.
Okay, sorry.
Hexa, I guess. Not Deca. Deca's 10, sorry. Sorry.
Actually, you've touched on something that's weird about the story. This game had a lot more story than a lot of previous Monster Hunters. For better or for worse, I enjoyed it. Most of the people I've talked to have been like, skip. But I've been like, oh, we're going to get our little friend back to his village. This is so sweet. But the energy of that is very much like, wow, we love nature. Everything is so beautiful here. Look at this giant monster. It's gorgeous. I'm going to kill
beat the
it.
shit out of it, yeah.
Yeah. And so the vibe of the story is a little bit weird because it is about like you have to get like authorized to go hunting. So there's like a bureau that's like every time before you hunt, there's like this moment where they're like, I authorize you to hunt this new Udra. And then you just wail on it for like 30 minutes.
They're like, oh yeah, this one's bullying all the other animals. It's okay. You can go kill this one.
It's invasive. They're not supposed to be here.
It's all right. Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah. There's always a reason to go big game hunting in this game. It's such a weird
Good
vibe.
name drop. That was good.
But it's absolutely a delight. It's the best part about these games is hunting a new monster and then immediately going and being like, what weird armor can I make?
Right.
What insane hat can I make? What weird like giant skirt? Oh, I can make butterfly wings for my outfit now, and they make me dodge better.
What can you use the tentacles for?
You can. I had to get a bunch of tentacles to make my bow because the game doesn't make a lot of sense, but it does kind of make sense where it's like, okay, if you're making something with a bow of monster parts, it makes sense that you would need like a stretchy tentacle sort of part. So I made a cool bow, and it hits people and it does good damage. So
Tentacle damage.
Yeah, and it looks dope as hell.
So you're a fan of these games going back? Like, when did you jump on the Monster Hunter wagon? When did you?
For Monster Hunter Rise.
Okay.
Which was 2018, I
sounds
think.
right.
That was the first of these three, right? The three.
No,
sort of
that's
modern.
World, right?
World was the first one.
And then Rise was after on Switch.
Yeah, it was Monster Hunter World, and then Monster Hunter Rise was the one on Switch, which I think came out like 2020. I think it was.
It might have come out late. It might have come out. No, I think it was maybe 2019. I don't think it was 2020.
Oh, Rise 2021 was the Rise one, but then World was like I think 2018.
That was the one I started on or gave a go to, and then.
To be fair, for release dates, it was in that blurry window of COVID where it was like everything was the same year, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it's fine.
I was like, it couldn't be 2020 because I only played Animal Crossing that year.
Like everyone else. You remember that? Gary Whitta got a whole new career out of that for a while. That talk show.
Oh man.
Yeah.
But I have been really successful this time getting my friends who love this Dark Souls series to play Monster Hunter because I'm like, you know what you love about Dark Souls? Fighting big monsters and having cool, dumb outfits. And I've got great news about Monster Hunter. The one thing that I feel like is universal that people miss from Elden Ring, who are like From Software fans, is the ability to sever tails. Because that was such a fun part of like Dark Souls 1, of being able to get in there and being like, I want your tail and I'm going to make a sword out of it. So I'm going to spend this whole very hard boss fight just doing that. And I'm like, if you miss that, you should give Monster Hunter Wilds a chance.
Nice. Stick it on the box. Frank, you still fucking around with it?
Yeah, I was just playing yesterday, and it's nice because now I'm at the point where all my friends are so high level that we can just like kill anything super fast. And so yeah, but I was doing like because now I'm in the high rank part where the game kind of opens up, and it's basically like do X amount of open worlds or do X amount of side quests until you're Hunter rank 30, then we'll give you a mission, then Hunter rank 40, etc. So. It was just like, all right, let's look at what weapon or armor I can make. And so we picked one monster to just keep farming the quest at. And like similarly, like you have to make this weapon, I have to get its claws. So you have to specifically attack its like feet to get the claws. And then
and they've made that easier this time around, right?
Yeah, and they add this new feature where it's called like there's like a wound system, and if you target the wound and attack it, And like the monsters have these giant red like
glowing
gashes.
weak spots.
Yeah, and you can like use L2 and target, and just everyone is just spamming the thing, and then you hit it, and a a glob of something will come out. You pick it up, and that's loot. And so yeah, I don't know. It's really nice, and to get like it's still kind of confusing to get friends in your squad because there's like a link party, there's a squad, there's your friends list. Like this is all within. There's like so many menus in game. It's very overwhelming, but well, I don't know. Once you're all in the same party or whatever, it's pretty easy. But yeah, yeah, I don't know. I like the games. I'm not like addicted to it yet because I'm more addicted to WWE 2K25, which I can't stop playing. But yeah, this one's really good, and I think like they're making them easier and easier to get into. The fact that it's crossplay is a miracle, so I'm very very happy about that.
Yeah, they actually just dropped a trailer, an update trailer for the first big content drop that it's getting in early April. So hype, not hype about the Mizutsune returning. It's a nightmare monster to fight, but they have announced that there's going to be like a hub area, which I think is one of the big complaints of people who have played previous Monster Hunters, which is that you're kind of in your own separate instance, basically, and you're not like chilling with people in like this one group area. So it seems like they're introducing that, and also finally bringing back Palico cooking animations, everybody's favorite.
They weren't in it.
Oh, that's I can't believe that.
Yeah. Nobody could. Nobody who loves these games. It's like you make food like by yourself on like a camping stove that looks very similar to my camping stove. So I like that. I like being represented in these games. Yeah. Yes. But you do it like
important
in cooking animation. In your tent, which is so reckless and dangerous, but it is just like you.
They fire in the tent making the food?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
you put your little gas stove up in your tent. Just don't do that. Hey,
Yeah,
kids.
don't let your cat cook in your tent. I don't recommend it.
But it's like you've got like a cast iron pan, and when you're done, you stab a knife into it and you just eat it off the knife because you're a barbarian.
But you're a barbarian who respects the art of cooking.
Yes, well, you gotta eat, slabs of whatever meat you've rustled from the ground.
Love that ground meat. Yum.
But the trailer drop for the new update has implied that some cats might be cooking for us in the update, which is all I want from these
And now
games.
they speak English, so they can like give you, hey, what's taking so long on a steak? What's going on?
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, you want cheese on that?
Yeah. Go for a smoke break. I've had enough of this place. All the cats are just snorting cocaine in the back. It's a real kitchen.
Beautiful. Big greasy fucking, kitchen
Aprons.
Yeah,
And,
apron on it.
yeah, one of those little flip pads where they can write it down.
Yeah, what do you want?
Awesome. Monster Hunter Wilds continues to entertain, but not as much as WWE 2K25 for one intrepid Noclip crew member. What? So last week's chat about WWE 2K25 was an odyssey because we are to catch Jenna up. We have finally reached the promised land of these games being good, is what Frank has said. And then he went on and on about all of the crazy modes you can do. We had to cut him off at a certain point because it was just too much shit that you were able to do. So Frank, what have you been? What is the path? The sort of Robert Frost, parting of the woods in WWE 2K25. What direction have you decided to wander in this week?
I'm still very obsessed with the My Faction mode. The real thing that like is really hooking me is I finished Bret Hart's like 600-page memoir, and then I unlocked Bret Hart in My Faction mode. So now I'm playing Bret Hart, but I know all of the trauma that the wrestling world has imparted on him, and I'm forcing him to keep on wrestling, even though, no, I don't know, but it's like I can't get enough of this. It's so good, and like it feels like playing World of Warcraft or something where it's like I feel like I should be doing something else, but I can't stop playing. I really can't stop playing it. It's so addicting, but it's like, I don't know, the way these games play, I really like. I now know like the counter timing. Like I know like if they're about to hit me with the chair, like wait until this moment I can counter. So I feel
You were saying you don't want to play ranked mode because you didn't want to get into that.
Man,
It sounds like you're going platinum.
He's going
Oh my
pro.
god, no! I refuse because like I remember I did like a few ranked matches and like it made me hate Randy Orton because whoever it was like I get so angry. I hate it. But in order to get an achievement, you have to do 5 ranked matches. And so I did like 2 matches for real. I got so mad. The last 3 were just to get the achievement for playing 5. As soon as the match starts, I run out of the wrestling ring and I wait for the ref to count me out 10 seconds.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Those people you fought now are going to be like overranked and are going to have a bad time because
I was just like, I'm not doing it. Although, like when I was grinding this achievement in WWE 2K24, the person I was fighting with maybe didn't know the rules or they were doing the same thing because they got out of the wrestling ring, they picked up a chair and hit me with it. And then that DQ'd them, so I got the win.
Was there any wrestler in like WWE history who that was their bit? That like when like was it Hornswoggle or somebody when the ring went they just ran? Was there ever? Because it feels like by now somebody should have been doing that, you know?
In Stardom, there is a wrestler that does that. Her name is Saki Kashima, and her gimmick is she's a coward. So as soon as a thing starts in a tag match, she just tags somebody else, or she'll grab the wrestling rope and scurry away. So that gimmick exists in Stardom.
Awesome.
Again, I've been watching so much WCW, and now Kurt Hennig will do that. Now he's part of the NWO. As soon as I like a lot of the NWO wrestlers, they're cowards. As soon as the thing starts, they'll run out and be like, nope, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
It's such heel stuff. It's heel stuff. But I don't know. But the fan service in this game is phenomenal. Even in the story mode, there's a thing the story stuff is so dumb, but there's a part where you're bringing back the NWO and they do the whole Hollywood Hogan entrance. And it's like this is, I don't know. It's so good. And I think it does help that I have been so outside like the WWE universe for so long. Oh, the thing that blew my mind is because there's achievements attached to it. I started playing The Island. It's so bad. It's like PlayStation Home. It is like it's their online mode.
Oh, is it like the NBA thing where there's like branded stores and everything?
There's a Nike store that you can spend $3 on. Yeah, The Island. It's there. There's Nike, there's Air Jordan or whatever, like Michael Jordan's brand, and you have to pay real world currency to buy like sneakers so your character looks cool.
But what character? There's like fucking 200 wrestlers in this game.
It's your custom character, right?
So it's a great value when you think about it that way. $3 to unlock Nike for 200
it doesn't
characters.
add any stat bonus. It doesn't add any stat bonus at all. So The Island is like I think they want it to be like your online ranked hub, but people can spend money. You can spend money to buy stat points. So if you really want to spend $20, you can spend 100. Yeah, it's such a broken thing. But there's achievements attached to it. So I was just grinding this really dumb mode, and I made my custom character with no clothes because I didn't want to buy the Nike stuff. And so I'm just grinding this really bad mode, and then all of a sudden it cuts to like this insane like HD FMV of Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns being like, congratulations, you've proven yourself to be one of the best on the island of relevance, like all this stuff. And it's like,
wait, the island of relevance is the name?
The island of relevancy. That's what Paul Heyman calls it. It's whatever. But it's so funny because I'm playing the worst mode, and it locked in it is a exclusive FMV of Paul Heyman. And it's like, they committed to this, and it's the worst mode ever. And I know at some point they're going to turn this off. Like in a year, they're going to shut down the island. So it's like, that is an exclusive cutscene that probably 1% of people playing this game will ever see.
This island is, I watched the trailer and it is somehow more deranged than what it looks like the fucking Mortal Kombat.
Yes.
What was that thing called again? The Chaos Temple or something?
They always call it like the Crypt or whatever.
The Crypt,
the
Crypt.
You walk around to unlock stuff, but it's so funny because you'll see like random people and it's just like, are you having fun? I want to. I spam my.
Are you having fun?
It looks like fucking like Juggalos made PlayStation Home again. Like
you're selling this, Danny. You got to settle down.
There's a store here called the Driporium.
Okay, all right. Never mind. You're right.
The pictures I'm seeing give me the vibes of an outlet mall.
Yeah.
On its last dying gasp. But that's incredible for a relatively recent game.
But it's like an outlet mall that only has Hot Topics in it. It's there is somebody I used to wear. I used to get like really like what would be probably now if you saw pictures of me incredibly embarrassing pants. Like you remember those like back when I was like in my like absolute pure metalhead like the fucking like plasticky ones with all the tassels and shit on them.
Yeah,
You know
the
what I mean?
strapped up.
Yeah, 100%. And they have so many
Any
of those
pictures
in
of
this
that?
mode. Oh,
Can
I'm
we get some
sure.
of those? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure they're around
Incredible.
somewhere.
Do you have the chain,
Timeless.
the wallet chain? Do you have one of
The
those?
wallet chain,
On every pair of pants?
yes.
I thought wallet chains were lame, but
You thought that
I
was
know.
lame.
Wow.
That's how deranged I am.
That's where you
Wow.
drew the line. Okay,
Yeah.
I
One
get it.
glimmering moment of self-awareness.
Right?
Now I get why you
still
hate
wear
Kingdom Hearts so
three-quarter
much.
length pants. Why I hate what?
Kingdom Hearts so much. You just can't do it. There's too many
Exactly,
belts.
that's what it is.
Yeah.
I just won't cross that threshold personally. But they're fighting in like a fucking Aztec like ring here, and what is this? Is this where you get your custom character? There's a huge church with Undertaker in a plate glass window. What the fuck?
It's just its own set, but I think it's really just made to sell you like these microtransaction cosmetics. It's such a bizarre mode, but I think that's what people are saying is like they're in NBA has this, like all their other 2K games have this. So they just did it, but it's like, man, it's so like it's like embarrassing to play.
The top comment on this video is this is on the official PlayStation account is microtransaction island.
Yeah. And so, but it's like it's fascinating to see, and but there's achievements. It's like complete the tutorial, win 10 matches, do a PvP match, and I think there's like 2 more that you get just by make your character, and it's like I'll play the 10. But you do get currency that you can then use to unlock cards in my faction. So that's that's the card. That's the mode I'm obsessed with. But yeah, it's such a good game. I really, really like it. And it's kind of nice too. Just like, again, I could have spent money and bought the new Assassin's Creed, and I do want to, but it's like, no, I bought all these games. Let me go back. So I did spend some time playing WWE 2K5, a lot of time. Monster Hunter. I've been playing Yakuza 5 just because I was generally like kind of depressed last week. I couldn't pinpoint it. And it was like, well, I do miss Japan, and Yakuza 5 just, you get to travel to so many cities in this one. You go to Nagoya at some point that I've never been to in real life, but I want to. So playing Yakuza 5, and then I was even booted up the Division 2 last night because there's trophies in that I haven't gotten. And
Man.
I was shocked. My friend, I'm like level 30. My friend was level 30. Someone joined our party who was level 14,000.
Oh,
Jesus.
It's
I mean,
like
never
never
people
stopped.
left playing the Division
Yes.
2 or that
Yeah.
level, so I guess that makes sense.
It's like they
Incredible.
live it for real life. Like it's real. Like I think it's like Monster Hunter rank. Like you can keep playing, you just keep leveling up. But someone was level 14,000, and they immediately carried us in a mission. It's like just like Monster Hunter. You can call for help, and people will just join your party.
Right.
I'm sure they're shocked that there are other people playing. And then so we did a mission, and we were blown away. We did another mission. Someone joined who was level 19,000.
Wow.
So it's like
Jesus.
So it's like, oh my God, people are still playing it.
That was their
Is it
alt
weird
account.
playing that now because it's in Washington and it's like fallen? Or are you like, this is
the
weird?
last mission, which I've just unlocked. The last mission is the capital. Like you are.
Beautiful.
So I'm like, oh my God, I'm so.
What day does
excited
it
to
take
play
place
that.
on? January 6th? Is that?
I think so. I remember like I forget what they call it, but I think in the Division games like that all happens on Thanksgiving because someone.
It's Black Friday, right? That's what they
Yeah,
call
it's Black
it.
okay,
Friday,
that's what
and
it was, yeah.
The terrorists implant a disease on money,
Yeah.
and they had the terrorists spend money on, which doesn't
Right.
work because now everything's
Wasn't
cash.
that called the dollar flu? Isn't that what they called it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
See, that's why like I'm
Donald
sure
Trump asked
I'm
naming
sure
Should I
convention.
get into the Division 2?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
See?
it's kind of interesting politically.
It's like this like anti-capitalist video game is really doing it on the nose, though. I feel like. You know?
Yeah, and then you play as the cops for a while, like for the most of the game. It's so weird.
It's such a weird pro-military game. That's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like Ubisoft probably course-corrected with Assassin's Creed Shadows, but there's an era of Ubisoft games that are so stupid they're incredible. And that's why I kind of like the Division.
Rainbow Six Vegas too. Oh man,
Oh,
the
yeah.
best.
Yeah.
good
See,
time.
The
see.
best.
But it should be worth mentioning that neither of these games were trying to be stupid.
No.
No, they took it very seriously.
No, the dollar flu was a real threat. I mean,
Yeah.
did that come out during COVID?
It came out like right before. I think
Yeah.
Division 2.
Yeah, Division 2
Yeah.
would have been right before, but they did have another game,
2019.
Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six. I want to say Quarantine, that
Is
they
that the
had
one
to
they
change
quit?
the name of.
Oh, they did. You're right. Was
Yeah.
that Extraction they changed it to?
Maybe I think that's
Six
right.
Extraction, yeah. Like,
Yeah.
It's like Left 4 Dead, Rainbow Six. What my
Or
friend was explaining
Outbreak,
to me.
maybe. Yeah.
I think it was like a Halloween event in Rainbow Six Siege, and then they just made it its own game.
Wow.
And gave it the worst name they could give it, given the time that it came out.
Oh,
Can
yeah,
you be Tom Clancy in WWE 2K25? Has anyone made him yet?
I'm sure someone's downloaded him or someone's made him. But yeah, that's the other thing too is Tom Clancy
Clancy
passed
looked
away like decades ago.
Yeah,
I
but
don't know, so
Ubisoft
long
own
ago.
him now, so
While
they just
back.
they probably
They
fed all
weekend
of
at Bernie's
his,
him around. They just carry him
Yeah.
around like
They just fed all his. They have
Like
a,
Lennon.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. He's in a glass case in the middle of fucking Ubisoft's office.
Yeah.
Bring him out. It's Tom Clancy.
They have, and he speaks through like an LLM or whatever. They fed all his books. He's got all his books. They fed all. He's like,
They fed his books and they figured out his voice. They just put
and
it all
they
together.
have a new one that's like, this one stars Harrison Ford in the movie, and like, yeah, well, of course.
Oh no.
God. Okay, beautiful. Frank, you looked like you were researching something there. Was it?
I was looking
Tom
at
Clancy?
Tom Clancy's Wikipedia, and I was just like, yeah, he passed away in 2013.
Oh, I've never read that book.
Yeah.
Tom Clancy's
Tom
Wikipedia.
Clancy's Wikipedia.
A really long book.
We got to bring back the Tom Clancy name. I know they. I don't know. Let's get. I feel like there was a point where there was like a new Tom Clancy game every 6 months. What happened? How did, you know?
Ran out of books.
Yeah, just like Marvel. The Clancy verse just got old. There was only so much Ding Chavez we could take before they wrapped that.
They
one
ran
up.
out of Ding.
Exactly. Never ran out of Ding. I think Ding Chavez is literally in Division 2. He's in Rainbow Six 1 the whole way through. And
Perfect.
Yeah, beautiful. Nice one. Yakuza 5. Yeah. You got some. Summer's coming, man. It's you did your bike ride. You're getting out. You're fighting. You're fighting the evil within.
Yeah, the one thing they just announced for the GCW stuff in Vegas next month is they're doing a match called the Senior Scramble, which is a battle royale where every contestant has to be 55 years or older.
Oh my god!
And so they're touting it as it's going to be like the oldest combined age of any wrestling match in history.
Oh yeah.
You will see someone die on TV.
And I think what it is too is it's the same show where Sabu's retiring, so I wouldn't be surprised if we get a bunch of ECW guys there to see Sabu retire. So it's like, oh, that's going to be. Yeah, and they announced another Stardom girl for that show, so it's like I'm so excited. Yeah, it's just 3 weeks away, but very excited. And then,
hell yeah, are you flying?
yeah.
You road tripping? Hey,
no, I'm gonna drive out, which I'm looking forward to. And then I can't remember if I said it last time, but yeah, they announced on the show I'm gonna go see the night I get in is Ultimo Dragon, an old WCW wrestler, has his own promotion, but he's going to be wrestling that show. So on the same show, I'm going to see like 2 girls from Stardom and a WCW legend, Ultimo Dragon, who was in that N64 game. And I almost thought about like, oh, I should buy that game and then have Ultimo Dragon sign it.
Which one? WCW versus NWO or?
Yeah, World Tour, which he's
Okay,
in.
yeah.
So he's technically like one of the first video game characters I ever played as, and I got to see him wrestle.
I think mine was maybe Bam Bam Bigelow or someone.
Okay.
In that WrestleMania game, that Mega Drive one. Beautiful stuff. Jenny, you've also been playing a game that is near and dear to many of the folks here on the crew. Citizen Sleeper. You've been sleeping. How's your sleep going up in space?
Sleeping on the job.
Yeah.
Pretty okay. Yeah, I just started Citizen Sleeper 2. I'm only about 4 hours in, but I loved the first Citizen Sleeper. Just some beautiful writing, some really moving storylines that you can really dive into. And what I'm enjoying about the second one so far is that I think it gets into the action a lot quicker, and it really gets you into, I think the gameplay is a little bit more intricate, and there's a little bit more happening mechanically, which I really appreciate. And it feels like you got to the action a lot faster. In the first game, it really felt like you were bootstrapping. You were just like, I'm here, I got no money, I got no medicine, I got no clout, I got no friends. But you didn't have any strings to hold you down either, so you were free. And that was a fun place to start from, but I think the second one is really picking up steam a lot faster, so I'm enjoying that. It also seems to be physically quite larger. You're not stuck on one base. You're kind of bouncing around a whole system of stars and bases to like hop around to and explore. So I'm excited to dive more into it.
If you were, because I didn't play enough of the first one, what would you think for like, if I was getting into this stuff, do you need to have played the first one more, or could you like jump in on the second one?
I think you could jump in just fine. I think the tutorial is pretty explicit about like, here's what you're doing and why. And I think this is a little bit of a more a more manageable start. You definitely feel less behind the curve of success in this one so far. So I think you can totally jump in and experience the Citizen Sleeper franchise, I guess, as it is now, starting from this game. I think you'll be just fine. The concept of the sleeper is that, and this is the only thing I feel like the game isn't necessarily as explicit about if you're jumping into it, but the concept of a sleeper is that you're a human consciousness that has been put into a robot body to do labor, basically. So your original form has like rented out their brain waves kind of to be a laborer for some sort of horrible corporation. And so the sleeper are the robot bodies with this implanted memory that you're sort of out in the world. And much like in the first game, in this game, you start by breaking free of your capitalist burdens in order to become kind of a renegade. But people are, of course, searching for you. So if it's kind of vibing well with Severance, which just finished its second season.
Right, I have to finish the first season of that one.
Oh,
so,
man.
Yeah.
I'm jealous that you get to watch both of those back to back. That's awesome.
So,
yeah, and you don't have to wait 12 years in between.
God, I hope season 3 doesn't take that long.
Was there a big gap between
too.
Severance 1 and 2?
Yeah, it was like 3 years, but there was the
Yes.
writer's strike in that window, and there was a couple other things going on, I think. So,
All
yeah.
right.
But it was long enough that I think a lot of people were like, well, one good season of the show.
Right.
Never
Yeah.
a season 2 to come. But they've greenlit season 3, so
Cool beans.
Such a good show.
Stuff. Citizen Sleeper 2. There's a couple of ones like that I need to get back and play. I was bouncing around. I played some stuff actually. I just wanted to briefly bring up the Stone of Madness, which is that game by the
Game
Blasphemous people. Yeah. Our favorite Galathian game developers. At least I think
cooking?
from.
They cooking on this one?
They're,
in the kitchen?
they're cooking. This is an interesting. It's another game with a bunch of set sort of in a religious order as well. It's very interesting and different, and I'm not sure if I'm clicking with it quite yet. It's an isometric, like, is it a puzzle game? Is it a stealth game? You're basically like committed in this asylum in a Spanish monastery somewhere in like the 18th century, and you're trying to escape. It has sort of like Shutter Island vibes to it, so I'm not quite sure what's going on. And you have you collect other mentally ill people, I guess. There's different ones you get, and there's a bit of unreliable narrator maybe going on, and then the sort of special abilities that you have are interesting. Like one guy is really, what's his thing? He's like really bad at being in the dark. He doesn't like being in the dark because he was in a cell for a long time on his own. So if you're doing like stealthy parts with him, you need to like get him out of the dark before he starts to get a little bit antsy about it and maybe make some noise. So it's like a very interesting like subversion of sort of class traits, I guess, in this sort of and it just looks, these games, like, I think the setting and the look of Blasphemous is, I absolutely adore, but just mechanically it's completely different. And interesting characterization in it, and the cutscenes have been cool. So I've been dabbling with that. I need to play more of it. I can't really speak to it in any sort of other way. The finals added team deathmatch, so I've been trying to mess around.
Well, how does that work?
A little bit. Just fucking shoot the other team, I guess. I think there's three teams.
That's a stupid question, I guess. But like, I don't,
Respawns.
because there's different character models and sizes and strategies. Is it just like, does all of that go out of the window, or are you people still breaking holes into walls?
I've been trying to, I haven't done it yet. I downloaded it
okay.
earlier today. So this was like what I was hoping to do. From what I saw with the trailer and the press releases, that it's just, I think it's similar in that, like, there have always been benefits to being a heavy and being a light and being a medium in the finals, because of the weaponry you get access to, and also sort of your traversal stuff. So what I suspect it is probably that you're in smaller groups, sort of engaging with other smaller, because that's kind of how you play the finals regularly, is you kind of need to wipe the other team before you do, or while you're protecting. Like, if you have one in there, you're kind of stuck. So it always was sort of like 3v3, and then hopefully the other team doesn't get inserted. So I think it's a good fit for it, and I suspect it's just respawning, but I haven't played enough of it. I played a lot of Dwarf Fortress this week because I'm working on the dock as well. And then I bought Deliver at All Costs because I thought it was out. I thought it was March 22nd it was coming out, but it was May 22nd. Deliver at All Costs. It's like this.
Deliver. Okay.
It's like the isometric sort of physicsy.
Yeah.
GTA in the 50s kind of thing.
Published by Konami of all people.
Oh my
studio
God.
publishers. I know.
It is.
Weird.
I did not know that. Studio Far Out Games. Yeah, it looks bizarre. It's kind of.
I played the demo at Next Fest. It's really good. It's
really?
very fun. Yeah, it's very funny. It feels like Disco Elysium in terms of its structure and framing and the way that it looks and
graphics,
the
maybe.
the
Yeah,
graphics,
the
the
camera,
art style, more than your emotions aren't talking to you in this one. But like Disco Elysium perspective and a little bit of the art, some of the lighting, and then it's mixed with Crazy Taxi of all things. It's so much fun. It's so weird. You're delivering, like, one of the first things is delivering fireworks, and the fireworks go off and like get stuck in the street and you have to dodge the fireworks, and it has that, again, a second time I'm bringing up Simpsons Hit and Run. It has that sort of like bouncy physics to it. It's not a realistic racing game or like driving game. Yeah, it's really good. I can't wait to hear what you think about the whole thing.
I'm gonna I have it downloaded. Jesus. I guess there's a Next Fest one I never got to. There you go. All right. I got to jump on that one then as well. And then I think that was it. I think, a bit of Dwarf Fortress and I think there was something else. Atomfall I've almost completed, but apparently that game's still not out. I thought because we did the embargo last week, and then apparently it's not out until another few days. So yeah.
Early embargo.
Have to see about that. Yeah, super early embargo. That's all the games we played. Wreckfest.
Sorry, can I real quick? I wanted to ask. I haven't had anyone to talk to about Citizen Sleeper 2, Jenna. So thank you for coming on here and talking about this game.
Yeah.
You're very early on, but I'm curious what you think as you played the first one, and this change was sort of contentious, I think, for a lot of people, and I was a little unsure how I felt about it until the end. So I'm curious what you think early on. Like you said, Citizen Sleeper 2 is bigger. It takes place on a wider space, literally. Like you're going to different locations more often than you were in the first one. I don't think you really left the eye until the end of the game or ever in the first game. So in Citizen Sleeper 2, how do you feel about the structure of it when you're leaving places? Does it feel less intimate, or are you finding yourself still capable of finding that depth in the character's story?
I think because you have this core relationship between you and your friend whose name I can't remember.
Something with an S. I think.
Yeah, Seraphin.
Seraphin.
You and Seraphin have like this core relationship that you're sort of working on. And so I think that in a way kind of alleviates it. But I think that's part of why I feel like this game starts faster, because in the first one, you really do have to work so hard to meet people and to build relationships and like to get anywhere with anybody. And so in a way, I think you're right. It does feel so far a lot less intimate, because it is like you're not there on the ground with these people, like with your own little apartment and the little cat that you befriend in the first game, and like all of these little details that really make you part of a community. Mm-hmm. And that's something that that's really afforded by the fact that it's just one space station that you're bouncing back and forth between. But I don't feel like I'm in Citizen Sleeper 2 deep enough to have felt much of a difference there. But like this relationship that you're developing with Seraphin is interesting. And the fact that you can like get people on your ship and like build relationships like that is something I'm really curious to see how those are kind of interwoven. I don't know what you did in the first like off-world mission where you're getting the data core, but I allowed Junie, the little girl who is clearly a liar, I let her come with us because I was like, yeah, you're a liar, but gosh, you're such a cute little girl. Come on, join our crew. And then I let her come off-world with us. I was like, yeah, you can hang with us. And then she bails immediately, which was really heartbreaking.
Oh, but that's really funny. I didn't bring her along, so I didn't know what happened with that. But she comes back later in the story.
Okay.
Spoilers.
Good.
But whatever. There's an opportunity to meet her again, and it's really cool. I think what Citizen Sleeper 2 does well, in spite of the fact that it loses that, like, there's no moment in the game that I felt as connected to a character as I did with the chef from the first game, where you have to keep bringing the mushrooms.
The mushroom chef.
Yes,
yeah.
like so good. No character in Citizen Sleeper 2 reaches that level. But the way that you can build up your cast and crew on the ship that you own, that you get to like fly around for all these missions, is so interesting. There's so many opportunities for, if you don't bring a character along to a certain thing, I feel like you almost have to like be clairvoyant and know that this is the time to bring this character. Sometimes they'll suggest it a little bit, but if you can find the right crew, the right cast, if you can find the through lines and like, I think give a little bit of yourself to the story, you have to be vulnerable, I feel like, to connect with some of these plots. It's really beautiful. But yeah, I by the end of it, I was a little disappointed that there wasn't a moment like that where I was like, yes, I'm going to remember this character for the rest of my life. There are places that I'll remember very fondly because the stuff that takes place in those areas is really interesting, but individual characters, unfortunately, I didn't connect with as much. So I'm curious to see what you think about it in the end, Jenna.
Yeah. Well, come back. Have me back on in like a month when I've finished it.
Now we have an excuse.
Do you have a candidate for your next video essay, by the way? Are you working on something after the
I am actually have what I came on this show instead of recording today, so I'll record it tomorrow, is an essay on Elden Ring and platforming in Elden Ring.
Oh, fun.
and how everybody's doing it wrong. So watch that video for for hot tips on improving your platforming and why the platforming is so miserable in Elden Ring, and the way that From Software structures and thinks about their game design.
Okay.
So that's what's coming up from me.
Cool. On your YouTube channel?
Yep, on my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/@the_Jenna, maybe?
Yeah. Those ats really weirded stuff out. Jesse, we'll stick those links in the description, right?
I got you. Don't worry.
He's on it. We'll do all the links as well, the housekeeping at the end of the show. The games, before we jump into, we got an email or two here. Before we jump into them, the games we talked about today were Wreckfest 2, Assassin's Creed Shadows, WWE 2K25, Monster Hunter Wilds, Citizen Sleeper, and a little bit of a smidge of some other ones too. Little nuggets you can hopefully you'll remember, because I don't remember any of them myself. Frank, what we got email wise?
Yeah, if you want to send us an email, write to us at podcast@noclip.video. We had one from Eric. They said, I had a question relating to the crop of Disco Elysium successors popping up recently.
Oh boy.
With a few of the new Disco successors being announced, Zaum's C4, Longdew's Hopetown. It's cool to see these creative RPGs being developed. However, a lot of the surrounding drama has also made the rounds again, whether it's the legal issues or who can actually claim the Disco lineage. Question, should a studio's background or drama matter if they are creating groundbreaking art, especially art that claims to be as challenging and messy as Disco Elysium? I know it's yet to be seen if these games will live up to their predecessor, but it's a question I ask myself when thinking about the anticipation of these successor games.
It wouldn't be a leftist video game if it wasn't splintering off into 19 different projects.
I love the phrase disco lineage. Really, really powerful.
You need two for it to be a series, right? Like you were saying with Citizen Sleeper. So
True, yeah. Before it's a franchise. It is weird that Disco Elysium, of all games, is the new BioShock. You could just say that you worked on it and you get $1 million. I was in the same room as someone who mentioned the word BioShock from at the beginning of every game from 2008 onward. It was like, from the people who catered BioShock. It's all right, man, whatever. We're doing that with Disco Elysium now. This programmer opened a file once on a computer there, and that means he's part of it. I don't know. I'm not talking shit. I don't know what's going on. Sorry. It's just funny how that's happening.
If I had opened a file on Disco Elysium, I'd be claiming
I'd be bragging about it too. That's true.
I
You're
cannot
right.
fault them.
if you touched greatness, even a little bit, you gotta, I'm a little bit close to the bone on this one, because I've been spending the past few weeks basically reaching out to all of the sort of people who have never talked before and stuff like that for our Disco doc. Our Disco Elysium doc. We're not doing a documentary on the history of disco, sadly.
I wish.
I know,
Yeah.
That's next.
It's never a wrong time to pivot.
There is a
Right.
WCW wrestler named Disco Inferno, so it's
Okay.
Wow, nice.
He's pitching.
Basically, is it a man or a woman?
It's a guy that nobody likes named Gilbert Galbardi or whatever. I hate him.
Wow.
He sucks. Anyways,
Is he a heel, or is he just unlikable?
I don't know. At the time, he was a face. Everyone was so
Oh,
into
really?
it. But when you're watching it in 2025, it's the worst gimmick I've ever seen. I hate it.
Is it worse than the Dogfather
Frank.
or the Godfather?
Yeah,
Who was
it's
the guy
worse.
who had all the sex workers?
There's the Godfather, and then when then he became the Good Father. So
Oh, come on.
yeah.
Did he become like a preacher or something?
Yeah. Because
Fuck,
they had a
of course.
faction called the Right to Censor, and then they started to clean up that. It's great, guys.
The
Rest
Right
in
And they're
peace.
making him the new deputy.
Yeah.
He's the new head of the Department of Education.
Yeah, it's
and
the
he just got
it's the
fired on the same
Dogfather.
day.
Yeah,
Wow.
exactly. Yeah, I think, you know what? I keep my ear to the ground with the Disco Elysium subreddit, and I think they know which way the wind is blowing with this stuff. There are a couple of these projects with, obviously there's the Zaum versus the, the current thing that Alexander Rostov and the original creators of disco, as people will say, it's because that's messy too, because then you've got Martin Luiga was involved in the D&D stuff, and there's all these different like little pockets of who is who and all that. I think when they're talking about this, they're mostly talking about these three ones, where one is obviously Alexander Rostov, Helen Himpera, and why the fuck am I? This is how fucked my brain is. I'm blanking on the writer of Disco Elysium right now, who I've been editing a video of for 3 months. Thank you, Robert Kurvitz. Okay. Thank you, Robert Kurvitz. Jesus Christ. Their sort of thing, and then you have Zaum as it exists today, who have some people who worked on Disco Elysium, the one of the art leads, and then some people who were editors or worked on Final Cut. But again, you're kind of getting down to very small number of people who worked on that. It's especially the original one, and the Final Cut definitely more. And then you have this fucking Long Dues Hope Down thing, which is the most stolen valor shit I have seen. Like, and it's, I think one of the programmers was the lead guy on Knights of Unity, which is the team that was brought in when the original programming team for Disco was fired.
Dude,
about 6
I was joking.
months before.
That's so funny that's actually what's happening.
No, so it's literally like it's the program, and they did good work. Like, no one's saying they didn't. They came in and they fixed up a code base that people who never made a game before had done, but this was a work for hire studio in Poland, and one of the guys who did that is the guy who's on Hopetown. And I have a sneaking suspicion that I worry, and I can't say much, I worry that they're going to try and go further with this. I worry that they're going to try and get some names of people who worked on Disco in the past onto this project, even if they're not really working on it. That's the vibe.
Hopetown has the voiceover for Disco Elysium, doesn't, like, the main narrator is also working on
Mikey? Oh, the main, no, so they don't have, I think you're right. I think they have one of the VO actors, so maybe the one who does
the like really scary deep voice, like the Ralph Innes voice that I can't do.
Maybe, yeah, but not, I thought you were saying the VO director who's
no, I mean
who hasn't, who's like a guy who was in a rock band who just knew all these people with crazy voices, and he had a crazy voice too. So I think. And who, look, the thing is, if these people make great games, it doesn't fucking matter. Like, Zaum sounds like they have a bunch of great people who are more than capable of making a good video game. Hopefully, this Hopetown project is also a good video game. Like, if it's a good video game, everyone fucking wins. It doesn't really matter. Hopefully, whatever the other crowd are working on is the same thing. But yeah, there is definitely a lot of, and I think the reason why there is, quite frankly, is, especially in this economy, is because a lot of these folks are trying to get money. They're not really doing this for the clout of getting wish lists. Yes, they are, that's my interpretation when I saw the, like, especially with Hopetown, and I saw the news articles about it. You know what I mean? Like, this stuff it's done on purpose to try and get a bunch of information out there, so that when they're in that meeting with that person from the VC fund or the big publisher or whoever the fuck it is, they're talking to Tencent or Nexon, or they're talking to whoever, that they have the person. It's a very founder thing to do. You know what I mean? Like, I was number 11 at Riot. I was, the amount of fucking games that are made by producers at Riot right now that were funded in the past like 5 years is like, Genghis Khan doesn't have that many children. So and like, it's part of the game. Like, you can't blame people in a way. Like, this is the way fucking games are funded. So if you want to win, you gotta play the game. I get it. But yeah, I think I have been keeping my eye, and I probably know more than I can say. I've been watching the Disco Elysium subreddit, and whenever any of this stuff comes out, I feel like they almost immediately know which are the ones that they should be hopeful about, which are the ones that are doing a stolen valor kind of thing, for the moment. But who fucking cares? Let's, as long as good games come out of it, that's the most important thing.
It'll be interesting to see how the impact of not having all of the creatives on the team. Like, I feel like whenever this sort of thing happens in a creative space, TV and animation especially has a similar problem, where you'll have a really talented visual department or a really talented writing staff, and when they all work together, you get this beautiful piece of art. And then when they all splinter off and say, well, you know what, I don't want to work with that jerk anymore, I'm going to make my own show. It's like, yeah, it looks nice, but the writing suck, or the writing suck. Yeah, my writing suck too. Or like the writing sucks, and
But
then the
word
visuals
bad.
are bad. Yeah, why use many word when few word do good? I'm just curious to see what ends up happening if they can still pull it off and make something good on their own.
Totally.
I mean, so many. If you have a mega hit like Disco Elysium, it has to be firing on so many cylinders.
Yes.
And to separate those cylinders means they're all going to be firing a lot weaker. And so it's just like, I feel that way whenever it goes through one of these, where it's like, if you have a flash in the pan, keep the pan hot. Don't
Yes.
like cool everything off. And like, you're never going to get that again, which is why I think it's so fascinating to see studios like Supergiant, where it's like they just keep firing on their cylinders, getting hotter and hotter and stronger, and then they get a hit. Whereas you have some studios where they get a hit and then everybody splinters, and it's like you're never gonna get another Disco Elysium. That's just it.
I think I think I agree. I think that is sadly the most likely, sort of end point of this story, because when I like. The development of Disco Elysium sounds like, from interviewing all these people on the record and off the record, sounds like it was one of the most exciting creative times for all of these people, and it also had a massive toll on them. Like the type of mid-20s shit you can do once, you know what I mean? And it also sounds like the type of thing where you have an instance where you've got Robert Kurvitz, who is clearly a very talented individual. You have Alexander Rostov, the artist, who is clearly a very talented person. But the more you talk to all the people, I got the impression that like there's always this, it's either a confluence of people working with different people's styles, or like Rostov's work was incredible, but without the tech artist that he really liked and got on with and was really good at this stuff, the game wouldn't have looked the way it looked. It wouldn't have worked. Like the paintings wouldn't have converted over. And the same with the writing, like all the different parts that people, added in, and the characters that they built. The most fascinating, I'm just spoiling our documentary now at this stage. The most fascinating part that I found of the whole thing is that Harry and Kim are written by everyone. Like those characters are so multifaceted and so realized because everyone had to write them, because everyone was writing their own characters. But Harry and Kim talk to those characters, so they're also writing them at the same time. And they obviously had like writers' rooms and were talking about this and trying to figure it out. But like at the end result is this character that is this multifaceted person, because you had multiple people injecting their ideas and talking about them in different ways and different aspects of their psychology and stuff like that. And there's something like you can't, how do you replicate that again? Like it's so lightning in a bottle. It's like, it's a killer. But you also can't run a studio that has that much of a writing debt. Like you can't employ programmers to twiddle their fingers for 4 years while the writers write the game, or it's like really sad. Like it's like a way in which like, theater works a certain way, right? Because you write the script, you get the actors in, you rehearse for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. Then you bring in the backroom staff, right? Then you start building sets, then you start putting them up, then you do your tech and you're done. Like to me, like making a game like Disco Elysium requires almost a similar production thing. Like you can't run a traditional studio and make those games, because it's just the dependencies are totally fucked. Like it feels way more like something, like especially once you've built the engine, what are they supposed to do? So I think it's like it's a big like compatibility problem with how games are made and funded, and also the destructivity of that type of art that they had at the time. I have no doubt that good games will come out of all this stuff. I suspect they'll be very different, but yeah, it like we often do these documentaries as a way of like sort of trying to share with the rest of the world what it was about how this game was made that other people can learn from. And I think there are parts of it that people can learn from, but I think that sort of the sad realization that I had in doing this is that like this is such a one-off confluence of the people, the way they did it, the society in which they did it in. Like Estonians' politics and culture is so like this couldn't have been made anywhere else. That it's I'm with you, Jenna. I'm like, worst case scenario, if you just say it'll never happen again, then one day we get surprised by a great game.
Don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened.
Exactly.
Dr. Seuss, right?
Excellent. All right. On that, let's wrap this one up. Noclip Updates. Our Dwarf Fortress. The first episode's up right now. You can go check it out. Episode 2 is up in early access. By the time this goes live, episode 2 should be live, and episode 3 should be up in early access. I've just rendered it earlier today, so they keep getting longer as well. It's about, I think the 2 and 3 are longer than 1 was. Massive thanks to all of our patrons, by the way. We had the largest bump in patrons in, I would say, maybe 5 years since putting this up. Probably because we've done it in this way where I put up a video and explained about the series and said it was up in early access, and a lot of people have come on early access, but we've noticed them all coming on our Discord and chatting around in the community. So welcome. We've had a few hundred people join, which is really remarkable and great. So massive thanks. We have been overdue some extra activity on the Patreon, so I really appreciate it. If you listen to this podcast and you want to get the bonus podcast every month, it's $5 a month. But if you want to get early access to this series, we're also going to be early access on the Disco Elysium series and basically everything going forward. We've always had early access, but with these series, I guess it's sort of feels like it's a better fit maybe as well. It definitely is a better fit for us in terms of production pipeline. We'll have that and the Everbloom technical series, a bunch of other stuff as well. And the Patreon show will be up this week as well. It's coming late this month because I wanted to get Dwarf Fortress 1 and 2 out before I did it so I could focus on some other stuff. So the Patreon show and the bonus pod will be coming out in the next week as well. It's all dropping in. Patreon.com/Noclip if you want to support us.
Gotta shout out the Battle Pass holders. We didn't do it up
Yeah,
top.
we never did it.
No fucking
You said you were going to read out funny names, and then you got stuck on GDC. And then we just moved on.
Oh my God.
Jenna hasn't had to experience the Cameron Ladd moment yet.
I know. Actually, you know what we'll do just to make it that little bit fun? Jenna, do you mind reading out if I send you a link? Do you mind?
Is this your punishment for all the guests on the podcast now? Because I have to suffer through.
Exactly. Can I spam you on Blue Sky with the list? Is that the good spot to do it? Okay.
Are you just about to send me a lot of crazy names on Blue Sky?
Exactly. They're just in your DMs there. There's a bunch of names, so just do your best. Do your best.
Oh Christ!
There's one about halfway down. Just read the one that's in parentheses first. That's the sort of.
Okay. Here I go.
Okay. Godspeed.
Anthony Thomas, Nico Posateri, Itzami Ferrario.
Perfect.
You're gonna cut all the mistakes I make, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Penelope Hayes, Senator Armstrong, Eamon Slattery, Harry Flanagan, Juice Arno, Richard Matherson, Matt Pearson, James Brown, Mark Roja, Tucker Morgan, David McGarry, Sven Huster.
Sure. We have a lot of Europeans on this Patreon,
Yeah. Pez. God bless Pez. I hope it's pronounced Pez. Now I'm panicking on the ones that are obvious.
How could it be pronounced anything else? Peas?
It's my boy Peas.
Actually, it's a soft Z. It's Pes. Int Nate.
Perfect.
Tim Robinson, Forrest Pruitt, Jonathan Crimmin, Eric Hamilton Schneider, Christoph Fetui.
Stay there for a second. This one, you got to give it a lot of gusto. You got to really.
The next one?
Yeah, you got to speak from the heart on this one.
Cameron Ladd.
That's really good.
Magnificent. Well done.
Thank you.
Zachary Snatter, Alex Gouchet or Gouchet. George Zikotis.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. I'm going to double down.
Do these feel more European than your patrons? I know you get a lot of emails on the podcast and stuff from your folks.
I think relatively so.
Okay,
yeah.
A little bit.
I'm not marking down everybody's names based on where I think the origin is. Here in this melting pot of a country.
So that's the European thing, is that you immediately try and find where someone's from so you can judge them accordingly.
Jacob Godserve, in Theogen.
Nice.
Tokir Tilyav and Ryson.
Thank you so much. You nailed it. Round of applause for Jenna, please, everyone. Excellent work. And more importantly, well, not more importantly, sorry, Battle Pass holders. Also, as importantly, where can people find you? Where's your work, and where should they internet stalk you?
Well, I double checked. It is youtube.com/@the_Jenna is where I have video essays on video games and media and internet culture and all sorts of good stuff. I just published one on Indica a couple of weeks ago that is really good, and then you should definitely check it out because that was my game of the year last year.
Nice.
And it was an incredible game. I do live streaming. I am currently live streaming Citizen Sleeper 2, and you can find that at twitch.tv/the_Jenna. And I also live stream on YouTube, but God bless me if I can remember what the URL for that is.
Is it different to your channel? Do you have
It is. It's on a
one?
separate channel,
Nice.
yeah, because of how miserable YouTube's algorithms are.
Very true.
I think that one is at the Jenna VOD, no underscore, but a VOD at the end because it's video on demand.
Jesse's got his work cut out for here for the description.
Hey, at least it's not youtube.com/live/UXK314M. Like, it's not one of those ones. Thank you.
Yeah, don't bother. Just watch my videos and watch me on Twitch. Those are the important things.
And your Patreon and your podcast?
Yes. Oh, God, Christ, you're right. I've got other things.
Too much content.
I've got a podcast that Danny is recently on. By the time this episode goes live, that episode should be live as well, called Big Game Hunger, where each week me and a guest get 3 random prompts and have to make a video game based on them. So it's just a fun, chill, creative, good time. And then I have an actual play podcast called Burnt Cookbook Party, where our crew of heroes are stuck in a time loop and trying to prevent a bunch of demigods from being killed. Or are they? Who knows? Might just sneak in there ourselves. So you can see those. And then my Patreon is just patreon.com/@thejenna. You can really tell what platforms already had somebody with the Jenna, and which didn't.
How dare they? I feel like the should have gotten, Jenna. If you were just going for like youtube.com/Jenna, I can see that being, hard to get. But the Jenna, like, I thought you would have had that one. Yeah, there's always somebody.
You think I'd have it on lock, and yet there's a YouTuber who hasn't posted in a decade that has it.
Hey, guess what? There is also for /Noclip, which is great. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
I don't check that channel
if only
every
I
month.
had a last name that was easy to spell, I'd bank on that. But
Oh yeah, good point. Yeah. Do people pronounce it incorrectly as well a lot, presumably?
I get Stoeber a lot, which
Stoeber,
honestly, it's fair. It's not, it's
That's what I
Stever,
thought.
but yeah. I can't blame anyone. Like, look at it. Look at that. It's.
I had a lot of fun on your podcast. I was like, last night I was doing some jobs out in the garden, and I was actually like, because I told you before I went on, I was so worried because I thought like my entire sort of online persona is based on not knowing how games are designed. So the idea of like just coming up with a game design on a podcast made me feel really anxious. As a listener to your podcast, I know how difficult it is. But I was surprised how entertaining and kind of fucked up our game was. Like, like it's a very puritanical, weird. Yeah, go check out the episode. Once you're done listening to this. All right, that's a podcast. Frank and Jesse, what are you guys doing for the rest of your week? Any fun games coming up? Any wrestling events or?
Dead or Alive Extreme Venus Vacation comes March 28th. I don't know when.
It's coming. Is that DLC or the?
It's a brand new game. I pre-ordered off PlayAsia. I don't know if they're shipping it. I don't know when it's gonna come, but it is out. My friend in Japan gets to already play it like in 2 days. But
wait, is it not coming out in America?
No, it's one of those things. Same thing as Dead or Alive Extreme 3, where it's like you can order it. You can order the international version, which has English language.
What is there? Some like. What is the impetus behind this?
It's too horny to sell in America.
Is it too horny for America?
Yeah. Japan has exclusive like stalking DLC, which you can't get in
Wait,
America.
whoa. Can you? How did you spell that word?
What word did you say? Yeah.
Stalking. No, not creepy, but I mean like the leggings. I mean,
Okay,
Well, I mean, that would explain a lot if it was the other
Whoa.
one, to be fair.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Context is so important.
Yeah. They hired a famous manga artist who is known for drawing stalking wells to design stockings for the Dead or Alive girls. And they can only get this.
I can't unhear the other stalking.
I know, me too. It's something about the
Sorry.
SoCal accent that makes it sound like there's stalking DLC.
Yeah.
Stalking.
You don't know what Zach's doing with his camera on that. I don't know. Who knows?
Wait, does the character have a name? Does the photographer have a character name?
I don't know.
Zach?
Zach it's Zach's island, and he's invited you, the player,
This
It's
sounds,
kind of like WWE's The Island.
it sounds like fucking Epstein's Island is what it
I don't
sounds
know.
like.
No.
Look, I don't know what the plot is. I'm excited to play it. There's new Dead or Alive girls. They're not making fighting games anymore, but Venus Vacation, I'm excited.
They know where the money is, I guess.
Yeah.
Although not in North America, by the sounds
Yeah.
of it. Sounds very strange. Venus Vacation Prism, is it? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Dead or Alive Extreme. That might be the third game in our best named game of the year. What were the other ones we had? I forgot.
Oh man.
Pirate
Yeah,
Yakuza,
Yakuza
in
Pirate
Hawaii.
Yakuza.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That was one.
What was the other one?
There was one a couple of weeks ago where it was
Oh,
something like,
man.
oh shit, that's actually a pretty good name. I
Yeah.
forget what it was. But Venus Vacation Prism, Dead or Alive Extreme, spelled XTREME, is it might be up there as well.
Which has some stalking, STALKI.
Stalking.
Wait, no, other
Imagine
one.
how much
Oh,
money
yeah.
it is.
The other one,
It's
STOCK.
part of the digital
ING.
deluxe edition in Japan. But
Beautiful. Love
Yeah.
to see
Oh, and
it.
I'm going to Toronto Game Expo this week as
Nice.
well. On Saturday. I didn't know this was a thing, but I guess I'm going. I'm excited.
Terrific. Excellent. Did you get a press badge? Do it.
Probably not. I
Okay.
should ask. Why not? My favorite gaming store is going to be there. Gaming Gators. Shout out to Niagara Zone. They make it happen. I don't know. It's just one guy in a room. He's really nice.
Niagara Zone? Is that what you
Niagara's
said?
comma
Niagara's
S
own.
own.
Okay. From Niagara Falls.
We're having a hard time understanding each other. We might have to cut this pod. This is the end.
Let's do it. All right, let's draw it there. Thanks again, Jenna, for joining our Calamitous podcast this week.
Thank
Really
you.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you for having me. This is a lot of fun.
Absolutely. We'll love to have you back. And thank you for listening, everyone. We'll be back next week with more video game podcasts. Until then, have a great week. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.